Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and unfortunately Matt's not here. Matt's away for the week, meaning that it's just Connor who's here.
Yeah, I sound so disappointed.
Yes, I do.
It's alright, you can be ecstatic next week.
Yes, Connor's missing next week. They're kind of alternating weeks for a couple of weeks due to altering vacations. So Connor's not here next week. What's funny though is that I think it's really amusing that some of the news we've got this week happens to fall on the week that Matt's not here. More on that in a little bit.
Yeah.
In a little bit. But yeah, so we talk about DC Comics on this show, and coming up on this week we have Wonder Woman and Justice League Witching Hour issue 1. Stupid long ass title. Anyway, we have Batman 56, Justice League 9, Green Lanterns 56, Nightwing 50, Green Arrow 45, Deathstroke 36, Adventures of the...
Did you read Deathstroke?
Oh no, I didn't. You didn't?
No, I haven't read the last issue yet. I didn't have time.
Oh, okay. Matt's not here, so there's no Deathstroke. Sorry, guys. Adventures of the Super Sons number 3, and then because we're catching up in punishment issues because last week was so busy, we have to do last week's punishment issues, meaning that Connor has Curse of Brimstone number 5, then I have Hawk and Dove number 4, and then we swing back over to Connor for Red Hood and the Outlaws number 25.
Yeah,
so
bit of a grand finale.
Yes. Then you get the annual next. David messaged us on Patreon, being very adamant that he wants the annual before issue 26. So that's next month.
Fine, but I mean that takes up a month.
All right,
so gets me further behind.
It's this month's book actually. What I'm thinking about. This is last month's. So
it is. Yeah.
Keeping track. Not letting Connor slime his way out of anything. So yeah, that's what's coming up on the show. Do you know, it's New York Comic Con right now. We're right in the middle. There could be new news by the end of the show. It's happened before.
It always does, just because of the time we record it.
It is. But I think the biggest thing's already been announced. We'll get to that in a minute. But so we're right in the middle of Comic Con. I know there's a Bendis panel coming up in a few hours' time from the time we're recording right now.
Maybe some more details on things.
Yeah, but that'll be after we're done recording. So there'll probably be some little tidbits for next week.
Matt will get an excuse to gush about stuff next week.
We'll be too busy. I won't let him. Too many books next week. Don't have time.
Is it a busy week?
It's a fairly busy week.
I've not looked.
It's not last week busy, but it's this is busy.
Hefty. Okay.
Yeah, because last week's episode was the longest we've ever done by 2 minutes. We beat the record by 2 minutes.
Hey, 2 minutes counts.
We had 3 hours and 8 minutes in last week's episode. Do not be expecting that this week, although one book might have about 30 to 40 minutes of ranting, so you never know. I'm not going to...
Oh, you got that much in you?
I'm not going to rule out the Nightwing 50 rant.
Jesus, I don't think I've got that much passion in me to rant that long.
I'm not going to say I've got 40 good minutes of things to say. I'm just saying that I could be swearing for 40 minutes, and that'll be something you can look forward to. So... we'll get into some news then. We do have some news, and we have... Cause actually, I should mention, we're kind of glossing over any like DC TV or movie news. Obviously, there's been tidbits for that in the last week or so. Especially on the TV side, there's been a lot of like Titans getting a season 2 and whatnot. But we'll gloss over that because we've got other things to talk about. You want to hear me and Carr talk about that? Go to the TV news, which will begin up tonight.
Or if you really want to hear about it again, we'll mention it on presumably next week's episode of TV from the Multiverse.
Sure. My only concern is, though, by the time we get to recording that, I'll have forgotten all of this.
It's true, so there might be some of it.
Yes. But yeah, so there was TV stuff that happened. They did their schedule. They put like a graph of like the timetable of when all the shows are hitting on the DC universe for the next year and a half. So there's stuff to talk about there.
I'll be impressed if they stick to it.
Yeah, and this isn't some slimy way of trying to get you to go watch something else if you don't usually watch the TV news. We've got comic stuff to talk about. This is comic show first and foremost. TV and movie related things are second in line. But yeah, so we do have some comics news, and the big comics news, of course, is the announcement of Wonder Comics, which is a new imprint because DC have more imprints than they do Robins at this point, which is insane to me to think about, but they do.
Do they?
They absolutely do. We have tons of imprints. We got Ink, we got Zoom, we got Black Label, we got New Age of Heroes, we got Vertigo.
Does New Age of Heroes count?
I probably don't even need it to make up this number.
All right,
But
fine. Vertigo, yeah, sure.
and then
What's
you got
John's one called?
Danger Zone, Killing Zone, Killing Zone. Step into the danger zone. And then you got Bendis' other one, Jinx World.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Come on now. We've
To be honest, when you first started, I forgot about Ink and Zoom.
my point stands.
Yeah.
We imprints coming out the ass. All over the place. To be fair though, this one does kind of sound like it's just in continuity comics. It just happened to be in a little group of their own, rather than.
So's the Jeff Johns one.
So's the Jeff Johns one, yeah. They're both just part of the main line that are kind of grouped off for whatever reason. This is basically when they started the New 52, they had the Young Justice section, which was all the teen heroes. That's essentially what this is. But Bendis is curating this one. Bendis is the driving force behind Wonder Comics, meaning that Carlo's going to get a complaint in a second, because the book, the headlining book that's coming out of this Wonder Comics line, early 2019, is a Young Justice book, which is going to star Impulse, aka Bart Allen, Robin, aka Tim Drake, not Red Robin. Notice how they're specifically phrasing Robin.
It's my boy Tim.
It's your boy Tim. And some other dude in a Superboy outfit. I don't even know who he is. Some weird.
It's not as fun when Matt's not here.
It's not. No, Connor Kent's back. He's in Young Justice. And Bendis is going to be writing this. Patrick Gleason on the art. This is a superstar lineup of talent for a new Teen Titans book, essentially. It's called Young Justice because it means the exact same damn thing, though. Right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it has more of a correlation to maybe a certain group of characters in terms of like which type of Teen Titans we're talking about, but other than that,
yeah, that's essentially what it is. Yeah.
So no, very pleased with this. Obviously, you're not, because Bendis is writing Connor Kent and Tim Drake.
Like the one thing I have going for me is, that people are going, oh, maybe he's doing a team book, oh, maybe it's JSA, and it's not. So I'm a little bit happy that it's not JSA. But,
so
it's a shame.
You've dodged one bullet and been hit with another. Basically, is what you're saying.
It's this is more of a grazing.
Okay.
I can take this one. This is just to the shoulder rather than to the chest.
Okay, I'll put it another way. You dodged a shotgun blast, but you got hit with the handgun.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so no, that's really exciting. Obviously, it was a big piece of art they put out, not just for this book. It was like an image to represent all four of these books that we're about to mention, by Jamal Campbell, who is the artist on the next book. Very nice art. I will say I got really disappointed with one detail on this piece of art, because I was convinced that Lana Lang was on this art.
This is entirely on you.
This is on me. Now, this is me jumping the gun. But it looked like Lana, and I got all excited because I thought, oh, maybe Lana's like the supervisor to this Teen Titans team. Maybe Superman's put her in place or something like that. But no, we found out later that there's going to be a new character called Jenny Hex, who's the great-great-great-granddaughter of Jonah Hex. And this is who that probably is. And I'm just a little bit disappointed because I thought I was going to get Lana Lang on a regular basis again. But hey, here we are.
Yeah. So it's a real nice piece of art.
It's a gorgeous piece of art. Everyone looks good. Cassie, Wonder Girl's there.
Yes.
So she's on Young Justice. The ambush bug was confirmed at another panel today that he was going to show up in the book, if not be on the team. So
cool.
So you got a whole host of characters here, in the Young Justice books. So Matt will be back next week to gush about that, because he's going to. And it's worth mentioning as well, Connor Kent's not looking like t-shirt and jeans Connor Kent. He's looking a bit more...
It's classic.
Yeah.
With the jacket and the hair.
Yeah. Bit more Metropolis Kid kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So there are 3 books here. One is going to be co-written by Bendis and David Walker. One might assume that Bendis is doing the story, but then David Walker's scripting. But that's just kind of a leap.
That's my hope.
That's a leap. That was a leap from you, because you're hoping that you can bear the dialogue.
In my defense, 9 times out of 10, where you have a big headline writer and then someone else co-writing, it's okay. This one's doing the story, and this one's doing the script. Yeah,
maybe. As I said, Jamal Campbell's on this one. This is called Naomi, and this appears to be a new character, unless I'm blanking.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so I think Bendis is making a new character basically, and we're going to get a book about her, which means it's a complete blank slate. Could be great. Could be okay. Could be bad. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm willing to try this one at least because you know, it's Bendis' scripts that I have a problem with, the dialogue, not the ideas. So
Wait, so you're telling me not even read Young Justice issue 1?
I didn't make it 3 pages through Superman. So what's the point?
The Return of Connor Kent, Tim
I
Drake
know.
back as Robin.
I know, but I know I'm not going to enjoy it. I'd just be putting myself through it for no reason.
Okay, all right.
I have long said that team books are the worst parts of Bendis for me.
I will agree that I think he's better on solo characters than team books, but I did love his X-Men, so I'm not opposed to his team books either. So.
Fair enough.
Also, we're getting Wonder Twins, written by Mark Russell and art by Stephen Byrne.
I do like Stephen Byrne.
Stephen Byrne is good. I've heard good things about Mark Russell. He's an up and coming writer. Wonder Twins is not something that I am like super.
Like, oh, hell yeah, I want to read that.
Yeah, like it's just not something I'm super into. I know Wonder Twins have their fans for sure. It's sort of this part of like history that I'm aware of that I'm not necessarily like that, attached to. But I'll try it. Sure.
Yeah, I got no problem with them. A good team. I'm down for that.
Yeah, and then the 4th book is Dial H for Hero, and that is written by Sam Humphries and drawn by Joe Quinones. If I'm pronouncing that remotely right, which I probably am not.
I don't know how else you'd say it other than like.
I feel like Quinones might be the pronunciation.
Well, the only other way I can think of is like like quinoa, which is like with a Q-U-I. So
that's like a Q-U-I.
Yeah, and quinoa is like that. So
okay, I see.
Keones. I don't know.
Aye, but Dial H for Hero is one that I remember trying the New 52 version.
It's all right.
Of this, and I thought this is a fun premise. I didn't like that book that much. Just for the team, for the writing quality or whatever, but the premise is kind of cool.
Solid, yeah.
So I feel like with this, you're getting your big headline book. Wonder Twins is your B book in the sense that it's the one that people know that really well. I feel like Dial H for Hero is an attempt to bring back a smaller character.
More of the cult book.
Yeah, and then Naomi is the new thing, the Bendis baby that he's trying. I do think it's weird that it's called Naomi and it's not like a hero name, like whatever Naomi's going to end up being.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
But I mean, maybe that's the point. Maybe she doesn't get a name like that. Maybe she.
Yeah, we'll have to wait because we know very little about that book at all.
Yeah, we know next to nothing.
We might learn more at the Bendis panel.
We did get some other details about all this stuff though. Bendis said there'll be some new characters such as Jenny Hex, which we mentioned. So I said 3 greats earlier. Oh no, it's 3 greats. Okay, I was right. The great granddaughter of Jonah Hex, and she's going to debut annoyingly in the next Walmart Batman issue, which is upsetting.
Of course.
Because you can't read that for a while. But here's one that I think is really interesting. We're getting a teen Green Lantern, who is not chosen. She hacks a power battery.
Yeah, I'm not into this. I know you were kind of feeling it a bit more.
Yeah, I'm into this idea. What do you not like about it?
I don't know. I don't want a teen Green Lantern thing where let's hack into it. No, I don't want that. I like the whole being chosen.
No, I like being chosen, but I'm okay with the idea of someone hacking into one and a bit of rebel teen who, and besides, Green Lantern is lacking representation on any of the teen teams. Like, there's never been a teen Green Lantern on any of these teams before.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Well, tough. But I've seen a lot of positivity on the Twitters about this. So
what you need to do, you've already got a younger kid Green Lantern going on in the book recently. One of the I forgot the race. Tama Ray and Tama 2, those with the fins.
Aye.
I've forgotten the name of the race. Yeah, we got a kid, one of them going on. So just pull them in. Don't do this bollocks. I'm not into it.
Me. I'm never going to read the book. Me.
Hang on, you don't even know which book this is happening in.
This could be Naomi for all we know.
Yeah, well, Naomi is in a Walmart issue, so who knows?
This could be Naomi. This could be she's the one who hacks the Green Lantern. That's why it's not called Green Lantern. It did say this though. Actually, no, it's probably not Naomi because it does. They mentioned this specifically. She will connect the relative to what Grant Morrison is doing in the Green Lantern.
God damn it.
So that's going to tie into Morrison's Green Lantern. So So that was the Wonder Comic stuff. I do have one point of negativity because I'm fairly on board. As much as a couple of these books may end up being kind of damp squibs that I'm not into, I'm willing to try them all. I'm excited for the main book. I'm excited to try the others. The one piece of negativity that I do want to kind of put out here at this point in time. Now, I just want to point out spoilers for last week's big book, Heroes in Crisis, and
honestly, I think we need to have a blanket statement on that for the show going forward with events because
sure,
it has ramifications. Even in books this
yes,
week,
there's books
just have to discuss.
That's true. I just want to point it out now because I'm about to mention something specifically. So, spoilers for Heroes in Crisis, and spoilers for what happened in Batman last issue as well, because this also ties into this. I am a little concerned that part of the reason why, because there's this odd thing that's happened at the same time where both Wally and Roy have died, potentially, right? Stay with me. And then on top of that, Dick's had his mind wiped. And I can't help but feel that they announced a new Teen Titans team of all the other Next Generation characters the following week. And I can't help but feel that they're saying, oh, we don't want two versions of all these characters. We're going to erase the previous line before we introduce these ones.
So last week, when I linked those exact things together, Dick with the other two,
yes,
and said, this is because Didio hates these characters, which I stand by. And you went, no, it's fine. None of this is really happening. No, it'll be back to normal.
I'm still hoping that. I'm just saying, this is the first piece of evidence where I'm concerned that they're wiping the slate for this.
I want an apology for the shit I got last week for even suggesting.
Whoa. Nothing I just said is like, what? Does Didio like these three characters more?
Probably.
No, you're just saying that because it backs up what you said last week. You said Didio hates these characters. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about them potentially wanting to have a cleaner universe by wiping out the previous generation for the most part of Titans. Which, by the way, in Titans regular, the Abnet book, like, is Dick still Dick in that? There's been no indication that he's changing in that, as far as I know. We'll find out next week, I guess.
But it'll be a case of he'll be Dick for the first arc, or maybe two arcs, and it'll be set before, and then it'll jump, and it'll be, okay, now we're after those events.
Yeah, at least I'll get...
Unless Dick gets back to normal.
Quick
and
enough.
It's like, well, that just happened in the middle of these arcs.
Yes. At least I still get Dick somewhere. That's good to know.
Temporarily. Because, like you say, they're kind of bringing in all the new team books. They're doing that. How long does Titans last?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm enjoying Titans right now, and I'm okay with it going like another 10, 15 issues and ending, and I could see it like ending around the time this comes out. Maybe we'll see. I don't know, or unless it sticks around and that is the book where the older Titans are and this younger, your Tim, Connor, Cass generation are in here.
The only thing I think you've got going for you is a safety net as to why we can have both. Is they call him this Young Justice? They're not going, oh, this is Teen Titans.
That's true.
They've gone, no, Young Justice.
That's true. I'm also not convinced that people are staying dead. I'm still not convinced that they are.
No.
I don't think you are either, as much as you're being cynical over there.
No, I said this last week. It's like, they're probably going back. It's comics.
Yeah, it's comics. Exactly.
But, I mean, until then, we have to just pretend they're dead.
I think that's the problem. When we get to Green Arrow this week, that was about... I mean, I think it's a well enough written issue, and obviously it's an issue that's forced by the events
really
that's going on.
To take it seriously.
But it's hard to take it seriously. But and in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, nah, this is temporary. This is temporary. I don't care. Anyway, so that was that news. So other tidbits that came from the panel today, mainly Flash related. Godspeed will be coming back at some point, so that's cool. Bart Allen will be in the book before going to Young Justice, so there's going to be some Bart Allen stuff in the Flash before he goes to that team book.
I expected.
And then the other thing I announced, and this sounds like it'll be an arc in the main book, although there's the potential it could be a separate mini, but I think it's just going to be the main book. Williamson announced Flash Year 1, which will be him and Howard Porter. And it will be looking at... It's about Barry's first year as the Flash. Williamson wants to tell the story of how Barry regained his optimism and positive outlook in the wake of tragedy, which I can see linking in with how he feels about Wally in present day.
Yeah, I really hope this is a separate mini, because I hate it when we derail the story to go, oh, let's do a year one. I like most of 0 year stuff from Snyder's Batman. But it really feels like, where that came, it was like, okay, let's just jump back for now for we're a year. I mean, this isn't going to take a year, admittedly.
This will
But
take 3 months at most.
yeah, well, I mean, that's assuming it's only 6 issues.
Nothing said implies it'll be a long
No,
arc.
no, but I mean,
So
the Flash is specific. His arcs have been kind of all over the place. To be
most of
fair.
them have been shorter though than longer, I think.
Yeah, you've had a couple of like 9s.
But most of them
Yeah.
tend to be 3 or 4, I think.
But
There's
I hate that derailing the story to go, here's the Flash.
I,
I just prefer it separate.
well, it depends what they're doing with it though, because if it's him thinking back to his origin because he's trying to get through what's happening to Wally, and he's trying, because Williamson talked a lot at the panel about how, I've been having kind of a more depressed Barry recently because of all the stuff that's been happening, and there's going to be like an ongoing effort, like in the in future arcs to like bring him back to positivity. And if they're using it as an actual plot device in the main book, then that's okay to me. Especially like Wally's year one and Wade's run never felt like it interrupted the flow of what was going on either. And it's not like people complained about Batman year one being in the main book. I think the problem with Zero Year is that it felt like there was no, because at least to me this feels like more like Warren Jokes and Riddles, where it's actually got a framing device in the present day story that's relevant to what's going on.
Yeah, it depends how much of a framing device it has. If it's like, every issue we're kind of checking in with present day, yeah, I don't mind it as much. If it's, okay, no, here's just an extended chunk.
But to be fair, War Jokes and Riddles didn't have that much. It had like maybe 3 key scenes where it came to present day, where Bruce was telling Selina what was going on.
It's like every issue, every other issue, right?
Every other issue tops. It wasn't every issue. There was definitely like issues.
I don't remember it well enough to say specifically.
I think there was one at the end of the first issue of the arc, and then there was like 1 or 2 in the middle, and then there was one at the end. But what I'm saying is, if it's relevant to what Barry's going through in present day, and it's been used to tell that story, it's been used to drive his motivation forward, I have no problem with it being in the main book. If anything, I can see it working really well there. There's an image out. There's a couple of covers out for it as well. It's worth mentioning. There's one where he's got like a Flash T-shirt on with jeans, but he's got, now I hate Superman T-shirt and jeans. I hate that costume with a passion. But
why?
I just hate it. I think it looks stupid.
It's really not that bad.
I hate it. I hate it with a passion. But Barry's got knee pads on and elbow pads, and I do love the idea of him when he first gets his powers, like putting on knee pads and elbow pads because he's terrified of like breaking his own like arms and legs when he's running super fast. That fits for the character more for me, I think, especially since he gets his powers suddenly. He's been normal his whole life, and then boom, super speed.
No, fair enough.
So no, but I'm down for Flash year one. Also, how many characters have not had a year one at this point? I mean, Green Lantern did. It was called Secret Origin, but you know what? That was year one.
It counts.
Yeah, accept it.
We've done Batman, Batgirl, Robin,
yeah,
Green Arrow, Green Lantern.
Yeah. Superman's had Secret Origin. He's also getting a year one, so he's well covered.
Allegedly.
Well, we'll see if the book ever comes out, but allegedly, yes.
Who are we missing? The big one? Yeah, Wonder Woman had one.
Wonder Woman had one, yeah, of course. In Rebirth, if that. Not if that. You know what I mean. Anyway, so who are we missing?
I mean, out of the the big 7 Justice League, we're missing Aquaman and Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, they'll get one eventually. It'll happen. Everyone gets a year one at DC.
Yeah.
Hell, well, I just mentioned Wally had one. Wally had a year one.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, Bart needs a year one. We're on to side characters now. We're doing all the legacy characters. They all need year ones. What's happening? And the other thing, of course, was that John's had a panel, and there was a lot of stuff about Stargirl and about James Robinson being on the writing team and all that. But comic book wise, he showed off some art for the 3 Jokers, some concept art. Bab's costume looking really mighty fine, might I add.
What's wrong with the costume? We just changed costume. Why do we need another one already?
They all have different. Batman has a different costume as well. I think it's Red Hood's got a different costume. I think they're all. There's speculation that it's set in the past, some of it, and it's not.
Right. Okay.
It keep in mind it's a Black Label book as well, so it's kind of away from the. I mean, it's in continuity, but I think it's away from the main.
Fair enough.
Line of books. But it's
Is that in Black Label or not his label?
Yes, Black Label.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, but he also he revealed some covers for Doomsday Clock issues. Now I actually don't have in front of me which one's which. I know two of them are the regular variant for 10, and the other two are the regular variant. I assume for 9, but could be 11.
Would we not have seen 9 by now? Solicits.
Well, it's every other month though, so we might not have.
What issue did we just had?
We had 7.
7.
So we have seen 8 for sure, and then that'll be out in November. So we've not had January's yet. No. January's in the next solicits.
We're due them in a
couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks,
yeah. So here's some interesting stuff here. So we have the variants, especially, are interesting. There's a really great image. One of them is black and white, and it's the chess pieces on the floor. One's Manhattan, and it's like he's wiped out the entire Justice League, where all the costumes are falling to the ground as if they've all been vaporized. So
that's a variant, if ever there was one.
It's a really iconic cover. But the other covers, there's one where it's a Legion ring floating in space next to Mars, and there's just a little bit of blood hitting it.
It's cool.
So that's obviously really exciting. Matt would be here to be hyped for that. I'll bring it up next week.
Or terrified.
And then the other one, which also relates to something else, is a young character. In fact, what's the name? There's a name in the mailbox. Hold on. Making this bigger so I can see it. I saved the image into my Word doc so I could look at them as I was talking about. Coleman. Who's Coleman? Surname Coleman.
I don't know.
Do we know who that is? But the young boy there, someone about 12, is reading a comic book. He is reading All-Star Comics, and you can see the JSA on the cover of the comic. So whether or not we are getting super meta about how the JSA exists or not is...
Carver Coleman is the actor who plays Nathaniel Dusk.
Aha! Which makes sense, because he'd be reading comics in the 30s and 40s.
There we go.
When the movie was getting... or before he became an actor.
Yes.
And then the movies get made. There you go. So, he's reading issue 3 of All-Star Comics on the cover. So, implications there, possibly. It's exciting.
Yes. Did we talk about what was on the cover of All-Star Comics? Did you mention that there?
Yeah, GSA on the round table.
Yeah, but it had Manhattan there as well, right?
Oh, it does. Yeah, you're right.
It has Manhattan at the front.
You're right. I haven't even noticed that. Man, his blue bald head's just there at the front.
And obviously, I'm not seeing Alan Scott.
That makes sense because, as we know in Doomsday Clock,
reasons, yes.
But we are seeing a lot of the other notables on that cover. So, but yeah, so not a whole lot of news from New York Comic Con, at least so far. But obviously, the Wonder Comics thing is pretty big. So
I mean, we got 4 new books announced. Can't really complain. There was no news.
No, that's true. That's true. I guess I just expect a few more earth-shattering announcements or something. I don't know. That makes us all go. I'm actually, obviously I've not seen anything about it. I wonder how harassed they're being about Wally and Roy being dead. Like, I wonder how much.
Probably not enough.
Yeah, I wonder how much grief they're getting.
I say I don't condone harassment. I'm just annoyed.
Of course. I wonder, like, are they skirting the responses to that? Are they intentionally not answering those questions?
Yeah, I can't say I've seen any.
Yeah.
Responses.
Because when I was reading the stuff with Williamson talking about Flash, and they were getting asked questions, he was getting asked about Wallace and plans about Wallace and stuff like that, and like I was expecting a question about Wally. I was like, is Wally dead? Did you have a say in that? How do you feel about that? And
the moderators aren't allowing any of those questions.
Yeah. And given that they're not even talking about it, actually just leads me to be more convinced that there's a plan and they're coming back. Because if they were really dead, they'd just be openly talking about how they feel about the fact that he's dead, right?
Unless it's the company line of no, you don't talk about it because we don't want you going, oh, I don't really like it, but I'd never say. Unified front.
Sure, this feels more conspiracy to me, though. This feels more no. There's a plan.
To me, that sounds like PR.
There's a plan. The Cylons, they have a plan. Right, some say.
You hope.
I hope. Dan Didio probably has a Cylon. I bet there's copies of him. There's multiple Dan Didios going around.
Yeah, probably.
That's why he can't be stopped.
Kill one, another just takes his place.
how many times has he been assassinated? How many times has Wally and Dick fans assassinated Ande? How many times has he came back? We'll never know. Each one's a perfect copy.
Try it and find out.
Don't say that. Don't advocate assassination.
It was sarcasm.
No one try and harm any comics creators or editors, please. Or anyone else for that matter, but specifically in this case, comics.
Yeah. And definitely don't cite us as an inspiration if you do.
And if you do, just specify Connor. Just specify. Jesus. Alright, that's news. Unless you had anything I've missed. I actually put a tweet on the comics Twitter asking, at DC Comics Podcast, in case you don't follow us, you should follow us. But asking, is there any news that we've missed, any tidbits that you think are juicy to talk about? But no one had anything.
No, I was just having a quick glance
really.
to see if anything had popped up, but no. I'm not seeing anything. Nothing's going, oh yeah, we need to talk about that.
Alright, first up on the books then this week, we will have Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark, The Witching Hour Issue 1, James Tynion the 4th, and Jesus Merino, of course, on the art.
Yes, undeniably the stupidest named comic we read this week.
Yes. Not to be confused with the worst, most anger-inducing comic we read this week.
No. Far from the worst.
Yes.
The stupidest titled.
Honestly, the title on this one on its own is long and clunky, but it's not that bad. It becomes stupid when you get to the final issue in the arc.
Yeah.
And then they both make each other stupid by relation.
Because they do, but even so, it is kind of just stupid and long anyway. Just you'd call it just The Witching Hour #1.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Easy.
Fine title.
Yes, and then the last issue in the run in the arc, you just call The Witching Hour Issue 2. There we go. We've done it. We've solved your mystery, DC.
What I'd do is I'd be a right dick and jump to issue 5 and count the 3 in the middle as 2, 3, and 4.
No, don't do that. That's awful. That's evil. That might be worse than what they're doing.
I know. Or at least, do you know what, like, I've seen them do it before where they're like, oh no, we'll use like Alpha and Omega, right? Like as the start and the end ones.
That's more of a Marvel thing, but sure.
No, but what I'm saying is, you see that and you know which is the first and which is the last immediately. Here, I'm like, okay, well, every time I got to reread this story now, I'm going to go, right, which one's first and which one's last?
Yeah, to be fair, like, I only know that the other one means instantly because they've used it a few times. The first time I was like, wait, what? Alpha? Why? What's going on?
Really?
An Omega? Why? Like, no, I mean, I get what they mean, but, like, it's just, at first it was like, why is this long, clunky title? Because I was expecting more. Like, is this the last one? I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I start and end, though. So, I mean, it makes sense.
But I don't know. It's still clunky. I still don't think that works that well.
It's better. I didn't say it was good.
It's like the comics industry love to try and make it even more confusing for new readers to get into it. Like when you've been reading a long time, like we have, you get used to all this shit and you just kind of put up with it and you understand to work through the trenches. But if you're new, Jesus, you're just
yeah, you're kind of screwed. I appreciate that at least like right at the start of the issue. I mean, it's at the start of everything this week.
There's a checklist of all the
checklist.
Yeah.
Being very clear, like this is part 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So as long as you got this one, you're good.
Yeah, it's kind of that thing though, where because they need these like in-depth checklists to make sure everyone knows what to get. I'm like, well, that's already just showing everyone that you're not doing this in the most neat, coherent way possible.
It is. It's one of those things that it'll be fine once this is a nice, neat, collected trade.
Of course.
Here you go. Here's the Witching Hour trade.
Yes. No, it won't be that though. It'll be Wonder Woman and Justice League Dark, Witching Hour trade.
No, actually,
what?
In theory, it'll just be the Justice League Dark trade because there's only 3 issues before this.
That is true, unless they do that really annoying thing where Justice League Volume 1 or Justice League Dark Volume 1 is 1 to 3 and then like 5 to 8 or whatever.
Oh, that would be. Oh, I hate when they do that.
Yeah, because I've done that a few
Volume
times.
1, but I'm missing half the story in the middle.
Yes, that'd be especially galling. But hey,
yeah.
I will just to add on to the confusing when you're entering comics. When I started reading comics, I started reading trades specifically because that's what I started with. DC didn't even number their trades.
Yeah, I remember those dark days.
I had to like do research to find out which of John's Green Lantern trades came before what. I was
Morrison's Batman's another horrific one.
Yep. Luckily, they're starting to correct this soon. John's just getting.
It was bad enough when they were just all like one title, like it was one book, and then but they didn't have numbers. So you go, all right, well, which one comes first? You know, based on these names. It was really bad when you got to something like Morrison's Batman, where you jump, by the end of the run, there's like 3 or 4 different titles you've got to read.
All right, even that, the fact that there's also because that was back when Batman's like detective comic trades didn't say detective comics, so they were just a Batman : whatever the story was called.
Yeah.
So you had to separate which is the Batman issues, which is the detective issues, which is relevant, which is not. And then you had Streets of Gotham at the same time. Although that at least was called Streets of Gotham on the hardcovers that I had. But
it was,
still,
yes.
The point being is that it's a little bit better, but still rough. Anyway, the actual book itself, which we taken 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what we're here to talk about.
And it does feel like it's following straight on from Justice League Dark more than anything else. This is the next. It
does, and it gets away with that because Wonder Woman's in a period of just waiting until next month anyway.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I know Tynion has been saying that he's been trying to beg DC to let him do a horror crossover in October for the last couple of years. So I'm not going to say that we're completely sure that this is like only a crossover because we need to fill in some issues of Wonder Woman. Hey, that next arc, make that a crossover. I still think there's an element to that, but I'm sure Tynion jumped at the chance because he's like, yes, October crossover horror.
So hang on, you're telling me Wonder Woman's free for a month in October?
Yes.
Give it to me.
Yes. So this is the first part of this 5-part story, and Wonder Woman, of course, we get more of the backstory, the history of her and Themyscira, where she was branded essentially, magically branded by the Hecate witches, and Hippolyta kind of quickly realizes this. She, like Diana, kind of accepts the fake excuse to let her sleep easy, and no, I believe my daughter. You three are full of shit. What did you do? So this is some backstory to set. Like, they've been doing this, and it's not just Wonder Woman, of course, but this is what we're seeing. And Diana goes to the League to try and explain to them, right, magic's kind of on the fritz. This upside man dude, he's real dangerous business. And I actually like that the others are like, what about Dr. Fate? Let's get Dr. Fate involved. He's really good.
And they're like, actually,
yes.
Probably tell you about Dr. Fate.
Honestly, my favorite line in the book might be when Chimp asked Diana what they thought about her having like a magic entity, because she lies, she doesn't tell them. In fact, I love the moment where they ask her like, how did you stop him, and she takes her hand off the lasso because she's got her hand on the lasso on her hip.
Just like, just got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. But Chimp's response is, oh yeah, you lied to Batman about a grave threat that might endanger the entire planet. Yeah, he'll take that extremely well.
Chimp is such a great addition to this book.
Oh, he's good.
It's one of those things that I never would have said, I want Chimp on that team. But it's so good.
He's having some fun battle with Swamp Thing and Man Bat. He thinks all of Swamp Thing's husks are creepy. Ultimately, though, the plot of the book is to set up for the arc where something really bad happens. The Hecate infused people start to flare up, if you will. What was it? Witchfire, I think the name of the character is. In the bar. Tracy, by the way, Tracy 13 drops that "Are You Afraid of the Dark" reference, and then it's implied that a lot of the people in that bar also get that reference and play into that on a regular basis.
And some of them groan.
Yes.
Really, again.
They're going to start chatting fire, water, earth, and whatever, wind.
Yeah.
So no, so that's what that was. If you didn't get that joke, if you didn't get what that reference was when she says that, the meeting of the Midnight Society shall commence, that is a reference to Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was a horror anthology kids show from people our age's youth. If you're young and didn't watch that, I think it was on Nickelodeon, I want to say, back in the day.
Couldn't tell you where it was.
Did you ever watch it?
Yeah, I saw the odd one here or there.
Yeah,
wasn't something I was like, watched properly religiously or anything like that. But yeah, I saw the odd one.
Yeah, it was basically a group of kids who met up at night, presumably at midnight. Although all the parents letting them out the house at that time is baffling. Like, they're all sneaking out all at the same time.
I mean, probably.
But they meet around a campfire, and one of them will tell a scary story. That was the thing. But they were the Midnight Society. That was what it was. So, but that was good fun. But basically, she gets activated and then ignites, and the entire place goes up. Tracy 13 gets grabbed and escapes through a portal. Constantine's in there, and he survives. He just survives because he's Constantine, basically.
Because Constantine. Yeah, because Constantine.
Yeah, but basically when Wonder Woman activates later on, and they're in the basement of the Hall of Justice, and the Hecate beings, spirits, whatever we're calling them, the gods, they're manipulating the Justice League, because basically they're debating what to do, and Batman's like, oh, maybe we should, because he calls Zatanna back, they calls Zatanna back to talk to her. It's like, hey, that's making Diana look bad that you want to, like, confer with me out, away from her. She's the leader of the team. But there's talking about what to do after she leaves, and then like the Hecate just like sort of whisper in their ears, and all of a sudden they just start talking about, oh, Ted Kord keeps complaining about his patrol duty. And later on,
it was the monitor duty, wasn't it?
Monitor duty, that's what it was. And later on, when Chimp tries to like call for help, they're all just like talking about Ted Kord complaining still. So they're on some sort of like spell.
Yeah. I think if you zoomed in on the word, it just says, forget this or something like that.
Yeah,
okay. Or you will forget.
But yeah, Wonder Woman's going ape shit, and basically Chimp's like, right, okay, quick, grab her. Let's run through that closet door, and it's a portal that he built to go to the bar. And then they destroy the door, and that's how they kind of escape. But that's when we get to the end of the issue, and I was going to say, they get to the end of the issue and they find that everyone's dead in the bar.
And then Constantine's just chilling.
Yeah. Just to set up the threat, just to set up that, okay, grave threat's coming, all hell's breaking loose, we're all kind of doomed, and the Justice League can't help, we're on our own, we have to do this. So, yeah. So
I do love when the when Hecate appears, and everyone's like, oh shit, we can all see this. and Chimp's like, wait, you can see this, right? It wasn't what I just drank.
Yeah.
Which I laughed at the label, the knockoff. It was knockoff Jim Beam. I call it Bim Jeem or something like that.
Which I like that he only gets that bottle though because they want to shut him up because he's complaining. It's like, here, drink this.
Kind of like, here, have a drink.
Yep. And that's basically the issue. It's pretty straightforward, but it's kind of there to set up the threat. So we get this big dark opening. But there's a lot of fun little jokes, a lot of fun little references. It was a really light and breezy read. It sidelines the Justice League so that it's like, okay, this is why it has to focus on these characters, why they can't get any help. And yeah, I mean, it feels like the next issue of Justice League Dark. Let's be honest, that's what it feels like.
It does, and I hope everyone who's reading Justice League Dark picks this up. And it's why I really hope this is just included in the trade.
Yeah. I would think most people who do read Justice League Dark will pick this up. It feels, and I suppose the argument like for doing it this way is that people who didn't try issue 1 and 2 but try this because it's the next big crossover, read this and go, oh, I quite like this. Maybe I should go back and read the first 3 issues.
Yeah, catch up because there's only 3 issues out.
Yeah, I mean it's not that weird.
And also the advantage of it rushes it out in a month rather than taking longer.
Yeah, you don't get that. You don't have that same chance to become forgetful and like grow apathetic, where you get the constant flux, and then hopefully after the whole arc, after the month, you feel invested enough that I want to stick around now. I'm attached now.
And it's also nice just to go, hey, weekly horror event for October, right?
That is also nice. And then we have weekly water and gods event in November.
Yeah.
That's where you go.
Just to go back to this a little bit, we haven't talked much about the art. I really like it, especially the first couple of pages. Diana running through the jungle, I think is gorgeous.
Yeah, the variant cover is also pretty nifty. I just went past that, which is why I mention it.
Yeah.
No, the art's very good. Merino's a solid artist. Because obviously one of the downsides to doing the crossovers is that we can't just have Alvaro Martinez on every issue. He's in the dark issue. Merino, I think, is doing both the start and the end, and then Wonder Woman's going to be another artist. I can't remember off the top of my head, but so it's going to be symmetrical if nothing else.
Yeah,
we'll go through it that way.
I do like Merino's art. I do think all the flashback stuff for the opening on Themyscira is stronger than the regular stuff because obviously it's doing a slightly different style to accommodate that it's a flashback.
Here's a really odd thing that I'm going to say. I think he's Justice League a little bit weak, but except Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman looks great at all times, but Superman and Batman and co look a little bit.
I agree with on Batman. I quite like his Superman in the close-ups. It's Superman in the wide shots. Feels
sure.
Weaker.
Actually, was it this book? I had a weird critique to make. I just want to see if it was this book or not. It is. Right, so see the panel where she's showing them the Upside Down Man, and it's like in the middle, and they're all like around, right?
Yeah.
See, when I first looked at that page, I thought Flash's head was Wonder Woman's boob.
Okay, I can see it now that he just happens to be sat in front of her.
Yeah, and because of the round red, and then the gold part of the top of her outfit goes round it. It looks
perfectly above it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like part of her outfit, his head, and I thought that's a really weird, distracting look. And it's like, just move his head back a little bit so it doesn't look that way. But it's...
Do you know what I'd have done? Honestly, I'd say, hey, colorist, just give it a slightly different shade of red.
Sure, yeah, do that.
Just to differentiate it.
Yeah, but it made me laugh, and I was like, that's what.
I never crossed my mind, but now you point it out, I can't not see it.
So that's the thing. But what I really like the art with all of the Justice League Dark characters. As bizarre as this sounds, I feel like, I don't know if he gave more time to the main cast, but like Man-Bat looks great, Chimp looks great, Wonder Woman looks great,
Swamp Thing.
Yeah. But all the side characters, because even when we go to the bar, it's not even just Justice League. If we go to the bar, like, I mean, Tracy 13 and Co look okay, but they don't look as good. It feels like there was time spent on some of the other characters a bit more. More details.
Do you know what I'd say? Especially for the side characters in the bar, it doesn't accommodate as much for the core league. Just spend time practicing during the dark characters because it's their book.
Maybe. That's possible. I'm also wondering if it's just a case of, well, Swamp Thing, Chimp, and Man-Bat have all got either, fur, hair, or in Swamp Thing's case, vines. That he spent so much time doing details on them that they come out feeling a lot more polished, like a lot more thought went into them. I don't know.
No, it's true. Like that page where you turn and it's all the Swamp Thing husks.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's kind of like in a video game where your protagonist character model has so much time spent on because it's the one you're staring at the whole time. But some of the NPCs you run past are a bit more simple, a bit more basic. I was getting that vibe from this, bizarrely. And I don't think I've ever felt that way in a comic quite to this extent before, where our main team, our main like 5 or 6 characters look great, and then the rest look good, but not as good.
Yeah, they don't. None of them look bad. No one like I'm going, oh, that's rough art. I never had that feeling. Yeah. I agree. They don't quite have the sharpness or the detail to the others that the core lineup does.
Yeah. But no, this is a solid entry issue into the arc, into the crossover, and I'm looking forward. And it's nice that we get to just do this next week. So obviously I'll be speaking to Matt about it next week, and then after that, hopefully all 3 of us will be on the rest of the issues. But no, it's good. So we should rate it. We should rate Witching Hour issue 1, which from henceforth is what I'm going to call it. So. Yes. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it a 7.5. It's really solid, enjoyable, sets it up, but it's not like amazing.
Okay. It's funny. I was expecting you to rate it higher than me. I was going with an 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the most straightforward of all of the, including counting this as kind of a proxy issue 4 of Justice League Dark. It's the most straightforward. It's the most just. Here's some, setup stuff. It's still pretty good. All the characters are well written.
Yeah, no. So it's more Justice League Dark, which will take us on to Batman 56. Tom King writing, Tony S. Daniel on the art. And Joe's really funny about this, and I've said this before about the whole Nightwing thing, is that I don't blame Tom King. I think Tom King had a story he wanted to do in Batman, and I don't know if editorial saw what he was doing and decided what to do with Nightwing based on what he was doing or whatever, but the way Tom King's handling this, because there's nothing in this issue about Nightwing's condition or where it's going, and I don't necessarily think just because Batman the book brings it up at some point necessarily means that, again, it's a core part of Batman's book. At that point it's just referencing it because that's what it is going forward in the other books. The way this issue handles it, though, is just about Batman's anger in trying to hunt down KG Beast because of what's happened, because his son's been shot, essentially. And the way King's handling this part of it, I really like.
Okay, I think it's alright.
Because nothing about this is about the amnesia or any of that bullshit. It's just about, here's something bad happened last issue, and Batman's out for goddamn blood. As much as Batman is without going over his line, because he's Batman. Yeah. And what I liked about it is that it mirrors the structure of last issue, where it was like it's cutting between the two stories, KG Beast and Batman's side of stories. But of course, here the tone's completely different because of what's happened at the end of last issue. Because last issue it was really jovial. It was like, oh, here's all these jokes about Condiment King, and here's all these jokes about this and that.
Yeah.
Whereas this is a lot more serious, it's a lot more focused in the sense that Batman's, like I can say, out for blood. He's gunning for KG
I
Beast.
get that. I like it a lot less specifically the structure. I don't really. I don't think I needed to see any of the KGB stuff. I think just being in Batman's head would have worked a lot better for me.
Okay.
Seeing KGB sit around with his dad, not really working for me.
No, see, for me that worked in terms of building up to the final moment, because we find out that KG Beast has killed anyone who knows who he really is, who could find him. But the one person that we eventually get to that who would have been able to find him maybe is his father. So, and we find this out as he's talking to his father and he's learning these different things, and we get to the end of the book and he actually does kill his father. But the reason why he's came here at all is to wait for Batman. And I like that reveal. That's the end of the issue. It's like he's inside the house waiting with his gun, and Batman's just about to arrive. He's just about there.
I get that, but for me, that final page, or maybe you need to touch before him pulling the trigger. They got then like the final page, you got him standing there over the dead body, pointing the gun at the door, and then Batman coming towards it. For me, that would have been enough. We hear his dad's the only one left who can who knows about him, and then you get there and it's like, oh, it's kind of too late. He's already dead, but he's in there. That would have worked for me.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that would work. But I don't.
It just felt like we spent too much time away from Batman and in his mindset for me.
I mean, I could see that. For me though, it very much. As soon as you find out that the one person, because you kind of get it before the other character says it, but as you realise when we start talking about how KG Beast has covered his tracks, and then we hear that his father is the last one, there's a moment where you realise, okay, that's why he's there. And for me, that's why this whole thing works, why this structure works with him being with his father. It gives us a little bit of insight into KG Beast as a character, but for more so, it's the playing with the structure and how it reveals why he's there the whole time, and why he's on the run from Batman, but he's not scared of Batman. He's predicting his move. And it does a neat job of showing how Batman's determined, and part of that, of course, is the fact that he's going through the snowy weather to get to the house when, he's lost 3 bat planes trying to get there, as Alfred points out. Yeah. And he's strudging through the snow trying to get there. And KGB's on the other end of the door. It kind of, I think, treating both Batman and KG Beast with the same amount of page time is how you make it feel like the fight is fair. Right, it's a subliminal thing almost. By giving both the same amount of time, that by the time we get to the end, it feels like it's like equal forces are about to collide, as opposed to. And I get the benefit of doing it the other way, where you're just sticking with Batman. It's the mystery of where he's went until the final couple pages. They're different tactics, but I don't necessarily think one is more valid than the other. King chose to go this way, and the way he's done it works, and he's used it to the effect that what I've been saying with the building up the equal sides, so that when we get that moment of realization, that's why he's there. Shit. And then he's there and he's waiting. Because I think there's also the trick where you think, okay, he's going to kill his father and just run. But he doesn't. He's waiting. Yeah, he knows Batman's incoming. He's coming to the trap, if you will. If you can even call it that. Because I'm sure Batman's almost expecting him to just be there waiting for him, because he's Batman.
Yeah.
He predicts these things.
Sure.
But, no.
No, fair enough. I will say King does fall into one of the traps that is one of my most hated things in comics.
Go on.
Of not naming the characters when there's going to be I think it's a Bronze Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
We spend 3 pages in a full conversation with him, and not once does it say his name. If you don't know who he is, tough shit.
That's fair. That's a fair complaint.
And I think it's particularly telling that I think it was the last issue of Brimstone, one of my punishment issues. I hate that book, but I praised that that it had the sense to it early on, first page, it went, oh yeah, it dropped the character's name in conversation, and it was like the one proper praise I had to it, because it's something that I expect in a good book. And this here, I don't know, it's something I do really hate when you do it, because it's fine for us. We go, sure, it's Bronze Tiger, but if this book, not even this issue, if this book of Batman is one of the first, you're one of the only comics you read, what are the odds that you know who he is?
Oh, no, it's a fair complaint. Yeah. It's not like that. I mean, it's not a big deal in the grand end of the issue, but no, it's something that I also complain about when it pops up. I don't like it either.
and it's something that I can excuse if it's not an important thing. But like I say, he's there for 3 pages. It's a big conversation in terms of Batman getting the information. It felt like a glaring omission to me, and it was something I wanted to mention.
It's different with the KGB stuff though, because the entire point of that is that slowly over the course of the book you're slowly learning who this is, and like realize if you don't realize it right away, because I think there's maybe an assumption maybe that you probably just assume it's him at the start, but over the course of the issue there's the slow realization of who it is, because that's kind of the point. But
actually, I'm flicking through it. It tells you in the second part where he pops up. So the first time you just have him banging at the door, and the father, and he calls him by his name. Right, but not the Beast. So if you don't know who he is, fair enough. The second page it pops up, the middle panel it says, "Oh, we called you the Beast."
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that first time that first page, the first introduction to him, he doesn't mention outright who he is, unless you know his real name. Which, let's be honest, most of us don't. Most of us don't remember KGB's real name. It's that element of mystery before we're going to reveal who it is. The problem with that we're talking about though with some comics is that they never tell you who any of the characters are, especially the side characters, the small characters that go like Bronze Tiger here, where they go for information, and they never mention it. And if it is a character you've not encountered before, or sometimes just a case you've not seen them in a long time, and maybe they don't have a distinguishing outfit or something like that, like there's just not something that makes it really obvious who they are. It can be an issue.
And this thing, like you say, that first page, it doesn't introduce you immediately to KGB. That's fine when it's a recurring thread over the book and it's building a mystery. I'm completely okay with that. It's this one with Bronze Tiger where he's there for 3 pages, he never shows up again in the book. That's it, and it never once tells you who he is. Yeah, it's kind of irritating.
It's irritating. It's one of those things though where I wouldn't necessarily downgrade the book as a whole for it though. It's one of those things that I think is annoying that I think all writers should do.
Yeah,
but it ultimately doesn't affect the actual enjoyment of the story.
That's fair. It just took me out of it when I noticed. It felt particularly jarring given that he went out of his way to do it with the next guy, Kanto. From the New God stuff.
Yeah.
Which I would never have known his name. I recognize him, but I couldn't have told you his name. So he went out of his way to say it.
Yeah, I guess he figures that less people will know who that is versus Bronze Tiger.
Right, and that's what annoys me is there's an inherent level of you should know this already, and I don't like that. I do know it, that's fine, but it feels insulting for the people who don't. It feels like they're missing out. It feels like you're kind of gating them out.
Yeah, I'm not as upset by this by you, but
yeah, that's fair.
I agree in the general complaint because I generally believe that they should always mention, even in just a narration box, who's who.
Yeah, if you just want to pop up in a box and say this person, fine.
But you went on a rant there for about 5 minutes.
I did, because I don't know if I've mentioned it on the show that much. And I've not had a big example of this is a prime point of a writer not doing it, because mostly people have been pretty good at doing it over the last couple of years.
No, that issue was really good though. I thought, like I say, it mirrored. It feels like it's part of the same arc as last issue, even though the tone's completely different because it uses the same structure. And I appreciated the symmetry with that. And I don't know if we get a 3rd issue like that, or if it's just like a fight issue next time, or whatever. But where King's side of the whole Nightwing being shot story goes, because obviously we know. We'll get to Nightwing in a bit, but like, what is the purpose overall in Batman going forward, in the point going forward? I'm curious to see what that is.
It's a gorgeous issue though, especially the stuff at the end in the snow.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
One of my favorite touches of the book is, again, it's actually a really small thing. It's in the lettering and the art. It's as Alfred, the signal's breaking up. Instead of just doing like a static thing or anything, and we just lose it or it fades out. It actually just has the boxes covered by snowdrops, as they're coming down. They just cover some of the word, and it makes it hard to read. And it's that impression of it's not coming through properly. It's a great little trick I've never seen done before.
No, that's good. I mean, I'd probably say I liked the last issue more as well because it warmed my heart just a bit more. But I saw that this one was very impressively done. I think a lot of people don't like King, and I think the thing with King is that He's someone who is very into the craft of telling stories in interesting ways and exploring characters in interesting ways. And that doesn't necessarily always jive with how a superhero comic is expected to be told, or how you would typically do a Batman story or whatever.
I wouldn't even go as far as that. I say he's like I say, he's very into the craft and the experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that always works. It's not just about it's how a Batman story should be. I think it's sometimes he gets he puts the craft ahead of the story.
Sure. Oh, for me in this case, this is an example where I don't think that's the.
No, that's fair enough.
That's the although I've liked his run more than a lot of people, so I mean I don't think he's crossed that line that much.
That's for me, this issue is an example of that, where I understand what he's doing with the the dual thing with the Beast and Batman. I get it, but it's not working for me. For me, it kind of lost some of the impact of the story. But it's not bad. I'm not saying that.
Where's Matt? He split the tie. God damn it. So yeah. So no, it's very good. I suppose we'll rate the book. We'll see where it's going next time. What are you giving it?
I'll give it a 6.5.
Straight 8 for me. Straight 8. Which will take us on to Justice League number 9. Scott Snyder writing, Jorge Jimenez on the art. This was a bit of a downbeat issue in between the action. We get to see a bit more of the Hall of Justice and the cafeteria specifically.
Sorry, I was flicking through it and I landed on the variant cover. Oof, Jesus, Jim Lee, what are you playing at? Barry's muscles are off the scale. I think he's on the strength force.
he's Jim Lee's a busy man. He's got a company to run.
It stands out because he's done some phenomenal variants lately. His one for the Sandman universe, some earlier these Justice League covers that he did were really great. Oh boy, that Flash is kind of ugly, and by kind I mean very. Talk about the issue now.
Thank you. So, Superman's rebuilding the moon. He's getting all the pieces bit by bit, and he's putting the moon back together. And Batman's like, sorry? I
said about time.
All right. Batman's like, hey, there's quicker ways to do this. There's more scientific ways to do it. And Clark's all, no. The labour's worth the effort. They put the love and care into it, kind of thing. But there's these monsters that feed off radiation that were hiding in the moon.
Solar radiation.
There you go. Yeah, solar radiation. And they're coming for Superman, and Batman's like, hey, Batman's being patched up. He's in the operating table right now, being lasered back shut. Alfred's there with Mr. Terrific doing their high tech surgery.
And he's just got his VR visor on.
Yeah, he's talking to Superman, and the whole thing's a very kind of sweet issue where, by the end of it, because basically after this conversation, we go around other pairs of League members who are in various places in the hall. Like the one we go to that were mentioned was as Barry and John are getting food, and John's lamenting because Fernandez there. Fernandez the chef in the Hall of Justice.
Because apparently he can whip up anything.
Yeah, but John's like, it's still not the same. He's making this triple-decker burger from Detroit. So Barry speeds off as he does to go and get it in a second. But we go to them, and they're going through stuff about talking about forces and him being unsure of himself. We get Martian Manhunter with Hawk Girl, kind of having a confrontation. Hawk Girl concerned that he knew there was a connection to the totality before he sent her in, and so on. And he's like, come to Thanagar Prime, we'll get answers together, and so on. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are bonding, talking about their part was probably my favourite out of these sections, because they were talking about all of their rooms basically in the Hall of Justice, and Aquaman's actually got a sunken ship in water that he lives in, and he gets to Batman's, and he's literally just got blast doors with security cameras pointing at it saying keep out. Which is really funny to me. Barry's got a lab. Clark's just got an office. Yeah, very homely. John's got a mobile soldier bunker. Yeah, it was a fun little slice of life. Like, here's how they're all living in this place, and I love that Diana points out that Barry doesn't need to live here. He can get back home in seconds. He doesn't have to have a place to stay. But so he's just got a lab with cosmic treadmills and whatnot, multiple treadmills. But I loved all that. But basically, what the issue is that they have all their moments, sort of talking about where things might be going, setting up future plots and character dynamics. Especially, of course, Aquaman and Wonder Woman, because their plot's coming up next. And at the end of each scene, Batman, hey, everyone, come in. You need to come and help. We've got a situation because there's not the Queen. What was the bigger?
The Mega.
The Mega Beast, the Mummy Beast, is coming for Clark, and because it feeds in solar radiation, it actually could hurt Clark. So Batman's like suiting up. He's got like this tank suit I've got. It's like a walking bat cave. It'll keep me alive whilst I help fight, because he's Batman.
Yeah, it's like it'll do.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but it's so Batman. It's great. And everyone's getting ready to fight, and then Clark at the end of the issue is talking to him and says, "Hey, Bruce, I know this is you. You called these monsters here. This is you. Call them off. Let me finish this properly." He calls his bluff. And it's this kind of really sweet ending where the whole thing's been about building the moon. And, you know, Batman's like, oh, it could be so much more than a moon. It could be more than a rock. It could be a weapon. could be self-defense.
Yeah, it's just the moon, but a bat moon.
But a Batman. That's the other thing. The Hall of Justice is open for business. There's people coming in and seeing things. Actually, I love the cafeteria scene because you see all the members from the different teams are there as well.
I love every time you see it, because you see it then and then again at the end when they're all looking up at the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Plastic Man just sticking his head out at the back above everyone else.
Yeah, because the Terrifics are all there. The Titans are there because Miss Marston's there. Black Canary's there. Who, call it clear if I'm wrong, she's the only one there that's not in a team.
Oh
no, Blue Beetle's there. Blue Beetle's there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I'm not looking at it at the moment. Hang on, let me find the page.
Oh, I think Animal Man's there actually in the background as well.
Oh, he is. Yeah. No, I see him behind Chimp.
Yeah, we got a couple of oddities there just hanging out, but as you do. The art's gorgeous, of course. Jimenez is very, very good, as he has been.
For the most part. I'm still not a fan of some of his faces.
That's fair.
Like that page we're on at the minute with the cafeteria. John's face at the bottom, I think, is a good example. When Barry runs off to get the burger, I just think it doesn't look right to me.
Yeah.
There's a few times like that. Wonder Woman has a really notable one later. It's the page where Batman calls Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I think Wonder Woman just looks weird. You know, there's enough scattered throughout that it kind of builds up.
Yeah, I like how Superman compares it to why Batman never uses magic to heal. Like, Batman always has to heal, sure, with high-tech stuff that probably does it quicker than most people get, but he still has to heal somewhat naturally, right? He'll never do it with magic, and Superman's kind of comparing how he's fixing the moon to how Batman is. So it kind of ends with this kind of really optimistic thing where they all kind of look up and see the moon, and even Batman's speechless for a second and says, "Wow," and he's like, "What was that?" It's like, "No, nothing. Report back."
Yeah.
Team's guard, Superman. Come on. Yeah.
What's Superman gluing it back together with? Because I imagine you can't just put the pieces together; they're just going to hold. I mean, maybe they do because of gravity, but to start with, it's just big enough. Sure, the final pieces.
I don't know. Don't ask me to explain the science.
I'm curious what he uses as a glue.
I mean, maybe they have like a fake core that has its own gravity at first, so it adds on to that, and then they go from there.
I get that, but that would really undermine the whole. No, we're not making it any better. We're doing it exactly as it was. You
can take it out after though. It's just that it's basically scaffolding, and then he takes it away.
Take it out through the middle of the moon.
You can fly through.
Yeah, sure.
There'll be a pinhole, Superman-sized pinhole in the moon, but whatever. It's a thing. It can happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. But the idea that Batman was actually like controlling these beasts and he was trying to like get Superman to stop doing this through these means really cracked me up.
Yeah, I mean, I like that concept, but I'm like, why is he doing it? Why is he going that far to be like, hey, Superman, make it better? Like, I don't know. Kind of feels a bit much.
Well, I don't think it's that much because there's never any threat. Like, he's claiming there's a threat, but Superman like calls his bluff and knows there's no threat.
Right. But I don't get why he cares that much. As no, I'm gonna summon these monsters to make him stop. Feels a little bit petty.
He wants to build a supermoon. Like, Batman's motivations are kind of left murky. The motivations we get to are more why Superman's insistent we just have the regular moon back. And
No, they are, and I like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like I say, yeah. Other than he wants a Batmoon.
Look, just look at it this way. The motivations itself don't really matter that much. The point is that Batman's a character who is always just trying to plan and think ahead, and even if it means sacrificing some of the natural beauty of something, right? And basically the Superman's point here that he proves by the end is that putting the moon back together and just having it be there again is symbolic and beautiful in its own right. This is the bat signal for the Earth to say, hey, we've got this. Because we put the moon back.
I get all that stuff, and I like all that stuff. Just left me thinking.
I'll say it doesn't matter. The point was made.
Okay, all right, I'll accept it.
So sometimes the dramatic point at the end justifies some of the shakier means to get it to work.
So what you're saying is the end justifies the means.
And storytelling sometimes, not always.
I'm gonna remember that.
There's balances to this. There's balances. There's no blanket rule that always works.
Okay.
All right, just make that clear. That was a delightful issue of Justice League. I loved the downtime. One of the things that I hated about the last Justice League book is there was never downtime with them just being this oddball family of characters trying to get on with each other. And I am always down for some breather issues in between the big arcs. And we're about to go into another big arc, of course, so I'm glad they did this. I'm glad we got this issue.
Yeah, we're going into the Drowned Earth crossover.
Yeah, we're getting the road to Drowned Earth for the rest of this month, and then on week 5 we get the first.
Week 5, okay.
Yeah, the week 5's got the first one shot.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's not as neatly spread out as the Witching Hour is because there's like a week off, and then there's like 2 issues in the same week because of the way the schedule of the books work out.
That's a shame.
It's annoying, yeah, but hey. What have you? Assuming I'm remembering that right. If people correct me, then fair enough. But I feel like I remember seeing that.
We'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, I feel like I remember seeing that when it was all solicited. But yeah, no, I thought it was really delightful. I liked having these kinds of issues. Seeing the living quarters was a blast. And having the teammates bond, and it was different combinations as well. Obviously, Wonder Woman and Aquaman have had a couple of moments before now because they've been kind of tied together with Cheetah and Black Manta. But seeing John and Barry have a little moment, having Kendra and Jean have a bit of a moment. It's good.
Yeah.
Good.
It was nice.
So, what are you giving it?
It's a solid 7 from me.
You're such a tough customer. No, I'm going with a 8.5. This is ranking up there.
I don't know. Maybe I was just having a bad week.
Maybe you were. I don't know. Everything's been 7s and 6s so far.
7.5.
That's a 7.
0.5.
Is in the group of 7s.
I mean, sure. Nothing's wowed me this week so far.
A 7 to a 7.9 are all 7s.
All right, fine.
Kind of like how 1980 to 1989 are all 8s. Same rules apply.
Sure.
So, anyway, moving on to Green Lantern's number 56. Dan Jurgens writing, Mike Perkins on the art. Which I'm glad again because I like his art. This arc, I've liked his art the most.
Cover aside, assuming that he did the cover, which I don't actually know if he did, so I'm not. He did.
My superhuman strength can pick up a cat. Yes.
Yes, he did. I don't know if you noticed the cover.
Ow.
Al's face is kind of lumpy.
I don't think I paid much attention to it. I'm going to go look at it just now, though, since you're bringing it to my attention.
I don't know. It looks pretty lumpy to me.
It says Misery Loves Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's wrong with his face. I'd say
I think it's the angle, actually.
I'd say his entire upper body's looking a bit.
Yeah,
weird.
I think the upper body, the angle's wrong. His chest is sticking out weird, and his head is pointing the wrong way, and it's too big.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it goes for more than one of them. Look at John behind him, just above his arm.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, that's an ugly cover.
So the cover. The art interiors though I love. You know, Baz in the snow
Yeah,
early
I
on.
actually do as well.
Yeah.
Which is why it sticks out as really bad.
Which is why I'm probably going to assume it wasn't him.
It was. I just checked.
Is?
Yeah.
Well, I will say it's got a very different colorist, if nothing else. I'll say that much.
Same colorists, both hi-fi.
That can't be the same color. It looks completely different.
Nope, same colorist. I mean, you say that. The colorist on Batman this issue was Moray, who did the colors for Heroes in Crisis last week. A completely different style of colors, but same colorist.
Well, what the hell are they playing out with that cover then? You get all the same people involved.
Yeah, I know. It looks hideous, doesn't it?
Madness. It's a rush job. The deadline.
I think it is a rush job. Yeah, they were like, "Oh shit, we were due a cover for the solicits tomorrow. Quick!"
Deadlines, man, they ain't pretty. So obviously we've had some problems with a few issues in this art. I liked the start of it, and then it went downhill in the middle. And you know, the Cyborg Superman was like fun reveal, but then him monologuing his plans for the last two issues have been pretty rough. This issue I think fared better because it was mostly just the action. I specifically enjoyed. He has all the lanterns captive, but Baz is still running around rogue, and he goes and gets John out of the med bay. And they kind of come in storming with guns because they know they can't use their rings. I thought that moment was fun. I thought them like coming in. I don't like the Baz is all like, oh, I've got a gun again. I can trust something I can trust. Because again,
yeah, that one moment where he was like, oh, finally a gun again.
Yeah.
I can't remember the actual line that he says, but it kind of undercut that moment.
Yeah, I like everything else about the plot there with what they're doing and the fact that they have to come in guns blazing to try and save everyone else. I don't like Baz's line because again it undermines that character development, which we all like. We all like that development that he gave up the gun.
And him going back to needing a gun after that development could be a great beat. Like he hasn't got a choice. It's like, well, I've got to use a gun.
Yeah.
But the fact that he relishes in it's like, oh, it feels good to have a weapon in my hands again.
That's my problem. Like, let's say, okay, we can't use our rings. Okay, there's some guns here. Like, give me a panel where he hesitates, where he's like, where he knows this is a big deal that he's picking one up again. Like, you know, make a moment out of it, and then don't have him like go, oh, it's gay, I get to shoot guns again, yippee-ki-yay.
Pretty much.
Which is basically how he reacts, and that bugged me. But hey, so the issue basically Henshaw is all like, hey, Hal, remember when I nuked Coast City? Oh, those were good times, weren't they? Those were good times.
Yeah, I see they're rebuilding. Maybe I should go back.
Well, that's the ending. He goes back to Coast City. He's going to destroy Coast City again.
I kind of hope he goes through with it and it happens, just to have that again and to play on that as so what going into the Hal book with Morrison.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I could see something from that. I don't think he's going to, but I could see
it's going to stop him. But
I mean, so the Lanterns fight everyone, and they realize he's going to Coast City. I don't necessarily realize yet, but he's there. That's where we go.
No, Hal's like he's going to Earth.
Okay, sure, yeah, he gets it. So actually, just to go back to the gun thing, not to harp on this too much, but just thinking about it, I think there's a lot of potential there that was been wasted because the other character there, John, he is a soldier. So when I see him with a rifle, it's like, no, this is like, what he was trained in. He understands this, but he respects what he's doing. He respects.
Was a Marine. He's like, no, sometimes, because he's never been, I'm going to put down the gun and use the ring. But he's never been afraid to use a gun.
But he doesn't relish in it. Like, he respects the weapon of destruction he's got in his hands. He treats it seriously.
Even in this here, he's just, Baz is going on about, oh yeah, how good is it to using guns? And John's like, don't let up. Just, keep shooting at them.
Yeah, he's like, focus, soldier. Damn it.
Pretty much.
Like Baz comes off as the hotshot soldier in the squad who everyone's worried is going to get them killed because he's too egotistical.
Yeah, he's too excited to be there.
Yeah, which gets people killed. So I feel like it's this like that's my big critique with this issue. For the most part, it's not like otherwise it's like a fantastic issue. I think the art's really good. I think the action's pretty fun. Nothing exceptional, but it's
solid though, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's fun as an action issue, which makes it better than the last couple for sure.
And I do really like Henshaw taunting Hal.
I do as well, and I like the ending. I like this is actually kind of a personal threat. He's coming to Earth to kill Coast City again.
It's like, screw you, Hal.
Do you know what? I would love nothing more for him to go through with it, just so we can say that Hank Henshaw nuked Coast City twice.
He nuked Coast City again.
How many people nuke the same city twice?
I don't think any do.
Oh, I'm
Oh.
just saying there's potential in that, but I will say I like this issue more. I think the next one's the last one. Hopefully, it goes out in another strong issue, so we can at least say that the majority of the arc has been better than bad.
Yeah. It's been a very inconsistent arc though,
Yes.
even no matter how it ends.
Yeah, but I mean, at least if it starts and ends strong, because I'd say it had a good couple of strong issues to begin with, and if it gets a final good issue, it has a couple of strong issues to end with, then I can overall be
Yeah.
happy enough with my time with it. But
Yeah.
because
It really is just that Baz thing that will be the lasting impact that I don't like.
yeah, yeah, so it's
I
good
do hope
buttons.
there's a moment in the last issue where he puts down the gun again.
Yeah, he makes a choice. Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd feel maybe forced or not forced, but rushed given how rushed the whole thing's been in general. But
Yeah.
I'd rather they tie it off in a bow at this point than try and drag it out than any other
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
So yeah, okay, what are you giving Green Lanterns?
It's another 7. Sorry.
No, but I agree with this one. I think this is
Okay.
yeah, this is a 7. Oh, actually, no, I'll go with 6.5. I think seven's actually just a little bit too.
I think I had just even with the Baz, I think I had a bit more fun with it. Like just the with the headshot taunting him and the
Oh
art
yeah,
is
there's more
nice.
fun. Like I definitely like this issue more, but I'm going with 6.5. It's an enjoyable 6.5, but with some problems. Um, if I have to have another complaint, I'd say that maybe when Baz comes out to help everyone, Jess says, "Oh, see, I told you Baz hadn't betrayed us," and everyone just kind of goes, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And like all that build up that they all thought Baz was a traitor amounted to, "Yeah, I guess."
Yeah, it's true. You got a guy shrugging, going, "Yeah, point made."
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's it. We can move on. So I'll say that was a bit weak, I guess overall.
That's fair.
All right, let's move on then to the main event of the week. I'd say.
Yeah, I feel bad for Witching Hour getting undermined.
It is undermined because we have Night.
It was the crossover slot. It got bumped to the number one headline act.
Yeah, it
Not
was
really.
the headline book. We talked about that first, but
It's not.
we have Nightwing issue 50. Benjamin Percy is writing this issue, although I don't think that really matters all that much.
They say he's writing this issue.
Yeah, Christopher Mooneyham and Travis Moore are the two artists because there's flashbacks with different art. Which right away I'll say that the art in the present day stuff is pretty good art, and then the art in the flashbacks is not so good, or at least
Interesting.
it's a different enough style that I don't. It feels out of place compared to the other art.
That's fair. I feel like there was more artists, but I'm gonna have to go check the credits page because it felt like more to me.
Well, the reason why I said the art in the present day stuff was good is because I really liked the stuff with Babs, specifically in the Batcave with her new outfit. I thought it looked really good.
Like the final 2 pages with them together.
Yeah, with her and Batman. Yeah,
Yeah.
that stuff looked really good.
There's a third artist.
There you go.
Klaus Janson.
Oh, is that him? Is that a good one?
I don't know.
It might
Because
be.
I think because I think those pages with Babs and Batman are a separate artist because they don't look like any of the other two to me. Because I don't like the stuff with Dick in the present day. It's got this horrible look to it of almost like they Photoshop the layers together.
Oh sure.
So like Dick especially looks like he's on a separate layer. It doesn't blend.
I don't hate it, but I do think it's not great. I think it's better than the because I was up in the present day stuff because of those later pages. If that's a different artist, then fair enough. That stuff's great on its own. The other stuff with Dick in the bar and all that, that's kind of like median because I think the flashback stuff's like it would probably be fine in its own book if it was more of a pulpy book on its own.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the art itself of that one of the flashback. I agree, it feels out of place. I don't have a problem with how it looks.
And I guess what they're going for is, it's back in the early days of Robin, so it's a more pulpy time. But like the way Scarecrow looks so cartoony, especially when he's Jonathan Crane with the mask off, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's what. Because I think Jansen's that 2 pages. So Travis Moore and Mooneyham. I think the flashback stuff might be Mooneyham because that looks more like in line with what the book has been up to this point.
Yeah.
I think that's him. And like I say, I do prefer that. It feels out of place in this issue because that's the flashback stuff and it feels so different.
That's fair.
But I think objectively, I think it's better than the present day stuff, which I don't like the look of at all.
Not counting the back.
Not counting those
pages.
3 pages, yeah.
Yeah, which are very good. I'll take more of his Batgirl, please. Thank you. So I want to start off by saying this. I absolutely despise this issue, and
it's atrocious.
I hate it with every fiber in my being, and I think it's notable. This is the first time, I think, since the start of this show, since we started doing this back at the start of Rebirth, where I've actually I hate Red Hood and the Outlaws. Like, I didn't like that at all.
You're always gonna hate Red Hood.
But this is the first time where they've actively made me angry because they're taking someone and they're just ruining them, right? They're just ruining a character.
They're taking them out back and shooting them in the head.
Literally, actually, in this case, he got shot in the head. Yes. And here's the thing, right? Whenever you have a story where you're taking a character and you're giving them amnesia or you're making them change, it can work in some instances, right? I'll point out a certain legendary Dougie Jones from. What did you think I was going with that?
I thought you were going to do a Buffy reference.
Who had amnesia on Buffy?
Well, there was the episode, right, where they all forgot.
Oh yeah, that was a funny episode. That was a jokey episode. That was comedy.
It was, but I thought that's where you were going, just to make your stupid shtick.
No, but that was hilarious because that was like a joke thing because they're all like trying to figure out who each other are. I
actually really like that episode.
Yeah,
that's why I thought you were going.
No, that's a great hijinks. No, I was thinking Dougie Jones in Twin Peaks because that was like, oh, we want that character back, and he's not him for like most of that season.
It's frustrating, but it's frustrating because you know it's coming.
Yeah, that was like. That works, and there's some other examples of work because the idea is that you see flutters of who the person is, and I think with Dougie Jones especially, he was a blank slate. He was like
literally, yes.
Yeah. Whereas I think the problem here is not only is he not like Dick Grayson, he's just kind of he's an asshole. Yeah, he's unlikable. I don't like this person. He's awful.
Yeah. I can see why Percy left the book.
Yeah, if this was being forced on him, if they wanted him to continue with this version of Dick, I get it. Run for the hills.
This has come from Didio. I'm telling you.
You know what? I'll take it because
he's like, all right, I can't get away with actually killing him because he tried that before, and
you kill him in everything but actual killing. Like he's dead. He's dead essentially. This is not Nightwing, and you know it's not permanent. You know because they can get such a cheap victory in a year or two's time when Nightwing's back for real. Like Dick Grayson gets his memories back and he's Dick again. Like that's going to happen, and yeah, I'll be there, sure. But do you know what the funny thing is? Before this, I was saying that I was going to read issue 1 of, or 51 of Lobdell's thing. I don't think I need to because this is
read it for us
because this is Percy, and I still hate this. The concept at its core is absolutely atrocious. I really want to swear right now. I want to drop F-bombs left and right about this because I hate it. We're a
family-friendly show.
Yes, we are.
I'll tell you what. If you hate read the next issue, I'll do it with you.
Oh, you're on. You're getting bonus Lobdell at a corner. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Just to hate read this Nightwing, being like, no, this ain't the Dick I like.
This is not my kind of Dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. No, I like right from the get-go, his arrogant narration about not wanting to remember who he is and not wanting to help anyone. He gets a job as a cab driver for some reason.
To keep moving. I don't know.
I don't know. It feels so forced. This feels like New 52 edgy bullshit where we want him to be completely different and have this edgier attitude and
this honestly feels worse than almost anything in the New 52 in that sense. Because at least the New 52, they just went, all right, across the board, we're trying different things.
Oh, sure.
It mostly failed, but at least I get what the point was. This has just ruined a perfectly good book.
It has, and I think the reason why it makes me think of the New 52, beyond just forcing things onto characters that don't feel right, is that obviously Babs comes and speaks to him and she has that conversation with Batman, and and it's easily my favourite part of the book because Babs is still Babs, so she still feels true to who she is, right? Yeah. But like the problem here is that this is intentionally separating Nightwing from the Bat family. At least it feels that way. It feels like when I read Nightwing now. Well, not when, because I'm not going to. But if I was reading Nightwing now, it's going to feel like this separate pocket of a universe where he's not connected to anyone. And no, like for Nightwing, no, he like we always say, Dick and Wally are the heart and soul of the DCU. It's notable that
there are points where Nightwing felt separate because as a character who's like, no, I want to go off and be my own man, do my own thing, right?
His connections in history still felt important though, even if that was driving him to stay separate.
No, it was, but it was very much a choice of it felt natural because the character wanted to prove that he deserved his own thing, right? And it was like, no, this is why Nightwing deserves to be a thing. We prove that the concept works away from Batman. So that works for me. Here it's just screw it. Just hide him so we don't have to deal with Dick.
I hate him. I absolutely hate him. And if this is in any way because Tim's getting more of a Tim-like role, then screw Tim.
Can we have both?
I mean, sure, yeah, I'd have both. Also, well, I'm at it. Where's Stephanie Brown, dickwads?
I'm long on record as Tim being my favourite Robin. I probably prefer Dick as a character overall, but Tim is my favourite Robin. And I want there to be more Tim, because, I've been missing it. I got a bit in Detective over the last couple of years, but he was missing, and it's like, I want my starring role. And then
Bendis gets
even pretend I was reading it. Let's go. Pretend I was excited. Yes, Tim's back. That's great. Even though I'm not reading it, I'm still happy he's around. But can't we have Dick as well? Why can't we have both? We had both for decades, and no one complained. It was fine.
Jason's the one we need to get rid of.
Yeah.
I really hope the Joker kills him again in 3 Jokers.
Oh, that'd be so satisfying.
That'd be hilarious to me. So, this is the thing. I hated every page of that. This was a comic I was not enjoying reading. I was forcing myself through it to get to the end because I had to talk about it. I had to get through it and talk about it on the show. It was a chore. It was difficult page to page. After about 3 or 4 pages, when I realized what this was, it was like, I already know I hate this. And nothing it did, nothing it said, every word that came out of his mouth just made me hate him more.
Yeah.
And if you want to change a character, then change them through evolution, change them through growth, where it feels natural. This is just all of a sudden, not Joel, he's a dickhead now.
Yeah.
And he's got a shaved head because he looks like an asshole as well. Why not?
Yeah, and then he burns all of his old costumes. Nightwing is dead.
Yeah, we had to do that ending. And also, of course, we're teasing that Jonathan Crane is going to be related to something going on now because the feather and whatnot. Who cares?
It's fine. I mean, I'm not against that.
Oh yeah, that's fine as a plot, but I'm saying it doesn't matter. I'm barely spending time thinking about it. I'm too busy commiserating.
I actually hated this issue more than most issues of Red Hood.
It was more of a slap in the face.
That's it, because I care about Dick. I don't give a shit about Jason.
It was a dick slap in the face.
It was. That's the thing. Red Hood, it's so badly written. I hate it, and it's awful. But at the end of the day, it's Jason. They're not ruining anyone I care about. This it doesn't fill me with angry passion in the same way this hate. It actually makes me angry.
This is garbage. I cannot wait to see the sales numbers for issues like 51, 2, and 3, just to see how much they go down from what they were.
50, they'll go up a little bit.
That's why I'm saying not 50, and not even 51. That's why I'm saying 52 and 3 specifically.
Yeah, no, I think even 51, 2, 3 will go up a bit because of when the orders are going. I think they'll go, new writer, fresh start.
And actually, to be fair as well, the news of Percy leaving was a last-minute change. It wasn't like in the solicits, because he was solicited for another couple of issues.
He was solicited up to the end of 52, yeah.
So, but I will be fascinated to see how much this book nosedives after a few issues.
Yeah, give it to in the 55 to 58 range. That's when I expect to see the drop. Because
I can't imagine anyone who likes Nightwing wanting to read this. I can't imagine.
This is straight up one of the worst issues I've read on this podcast, and I've read some shite.
I hate it. I hate it with every fibre of my being. You wanted hate? Here's some hate. It's a shame Matt's not here. I want to feel his hate.
And Matt brings the hate. When he hates something.
I need to know things down. I need reaction to Connor Kent and Young Justice. I need reaction to Doomsday Clock covers, and I need reaction to Nightwing 50.
You're gonna have to do a little subsection, next week. Call it flashback.
Yes, flashback.
Like Matt, quick thoughts, rant, go.
Do the funny thing is, I can always just see him not saying any words and just making noises for each one, and it'll be just as I go through, I'll just list them quickly. Just get the noises.
Yeah. No, I'm out of words for how much I hate this. I can't think of any new ways to describe how atrocious it is.
I put it off till last night. I was putting it off.
See, that's it. I had a feeling that because I said to you earlier in the week, it's like, I read a couple of things. I read Nightwing to get it out of the way, and you went, "Oh, but it's still Percy," and I went, "Yeah, but I had a feeling," and I left it at that. I didn't say how bad it was to you. I wanted you to experience it uncolored. But yeah,
I hate it. It's an absolute. It's a travesty of an issue. The direction for Nightwing now is just like, yeah, you've succeeded in making me drop Nightwing and not wanting to look at it or talk about it until you fix this shit. This is garbage. Now, the good news here is, unlike a lot of stuff in New 52, this is, the things we're complaining about are contained to a couple of books, whereas for the most part, Justice League's doing great, Batman's doing great, Justice League Dark, Odyssey, they're all doing great.
Yeah,
Superman
Justice League Dark is one of my favourite books right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm loving that book.
Yeah, like DC as a whole, there's plenty to love. There's plenty of stuff to we'll be positive about on a weekly basis.
As an issue 50, to just shit all over the previous 49 issues. Wait, did this have a Rebirth issue?
Yes.
To shit all over the previous 50 issues.
And an annual.
To shit all over the previous 51 issues. What's the point?
Yeah, I don't know who wants this version of Nightwing, other than Didio, but like possibly, or whoever else is behind this.
That's what. Yeah, we were going. How does Lobdell keep getting these jobs? He's got some and so on. No, he's just going. Hey, Didio.
But
I'll throw Dick to the shite. I'll do it.
Yeah, but is it his idea, or is he just willing to do it? Is he willing to be the one who takes the book when it's this crap that's been forced upon it?
Do you know what? It's almost a punishment. It's like no one wants this job. Hey, Lobdell, we got a job for you. Do you want another book? Yeah, of course I do. Back in New 52, I had 8 going. Now I'm stuck with 1. What's going on? It's all right. We're giving you Nightwing. Here's your direction.
Because I think by the end of this story, right, however long this lasts.
It's going to be at least a year, isn't it?
The dramatic point at the end probably will be he really discovers who Dick Grayson is again, and it's going to be this big uplifting moment, or at least it should be. The problem is that there's no hope of this right now. Right now, the character's just, no, I don't want to be who I was. This guy's a pussy. I'm new. I'm grey. Yeah, you can call me grey.
Yeah, he has like 6 different names because they were like, well, we can't think of a good one where that'll stick. So what we'll do is we'll throw out a bunch and say, Gray, Grayson, Richard, Rich, Rick, Dick. It's like, pick one. He's like, yeah. He goes, I don't care.
That's just, this does not feel story driven. It feels purely editorially driven, and it feels driven in a way that it's like, I don't know what the purpose is of having Nightwing in this situation for a while is. To keep him out of the way, to have a big comeback later, or what? I don't know. Or is it just so misinformed? Is it just this really terrible idea that no one high up enough can shut down? I don't know. It's baffling to me.
I'm convinced this comes from Didio. Comes from the top. Because if it came from King, I don't know. I don't see that.
I don't think
he'd be dealing with more of it in his book.
Yeah, I don't think what Nightwing's actually doing post shooting's got much to do with King.
No. I agree. That's why I'm not blaming him. I'm saying it didn't come from Percy because he's pissed off. He's like, nah, I'm not doing that. Clearly, it's not. It can't. Those are the 2 people who've been writing Nightwing in or to do with this version of Nightwing.
And to be fair, King as well, co-wrote Dick Grayson for a long ass time. He cares about the character. It's not like someone he wants to throw under the bus. So yeah, I can't imagine a single Dick Grayson fan on the planet who is enthused by anything that happens in this book. I can't imagine anyone liking it.
I said, I think the only things you can like in this book are the flashbacks because they're kind of just they're just a Robin story, part of a Robin story, basically.
Mm-hmm.
If you take them on their own. and that like 3 pages with Babs and Bruce. Is it 3 pages? Do you know what? It's only 2 pages. I'm overselling it, and one of them is just a full page spread.
Yeah, I don't. I just. It pains me. This is the first like huge misstep DC have made since we started this show, and it's just like, oh my god, what are you doing, you fools? What are you doing?
That's it. There's things I've not liked. I'm not reading Superman in action right now because I don't like Bendis, but I've never gone, oh, it's atrocious. I'm not. What are they doing? They're doing
It's
wrong.
not a misstep. They're not taking Superman and putting him in a place that doesn't work. Like the New 52 did to him for the most part.
Right, exactly. I'm not saying, but this, why?
The cat's comforting me. He knows I'm upset, so he's purring on my lap.
It's not enough, though, is it?
It's not. I want Didio's resignation on my on my desk.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Damn it. Oh my god. I guess we should move on, but damn, I hated this. I hated this more than anything I have disliked on this show since we started it. Easily. It's awful. It's garbage. Yeah. And I guess we're hate reading the issue 51 because you taught me into it, but beyond that,
I just think it'll be funny.
Beyond that, I want no part of this.
Someone else to suffer a Lobdell for a change.
I want no
part
of this.
On my own.
So speaking of fallout of things happening in Tom King books, Green Arrow 45 is written by Julian Shawna Benson and art by Javier Fernandez. And one thing that's interesting about this one is I don't think this is a badly written book or it's a bad issue or anything like that. But at the same time, I also don't think if you dislike anything about it, I don't think you can put it on the Bensons. I feel like this book is not really a part of their run. They've written it because it has the editorial said,
the writers,
put this issue here, but it's not really a part of their overall story, really.
It's one of these where, like you say, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't hate the issue. It's competently written, but it's hard to care. It's hard to give a shit about anything and take it seriously when you go, well, it's all bad to normal.
Yeah, I don't believe the death is sticking, so it's hard to take the funeral, which is this entire issue, is the funeral of Roy.
Do you know what's going to be really annoying?
Mm-hmm.
If in a year's time, or 9 months, and it's like, oh shit, those deaths are sticking, and we'll be like, maybe we should have gone back. Maybe we should have cared about the funeral shit.
Yeah, maybe. I think. I mean, it's nice having all different people at the funeral there. Oliver trying to punch Superman and breaking his hand. Sure, there's nice moments in here, and they play well enough. But it is kind of a weird issue, and I don't really believe he's staying dead. So it's hard to kind of.
The whole time we're like, you're just overreacting.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like people are overreacting.
It's when Oliver threatens to take down the Justice League with whatever Jean gave him.
Yeah. John pulls him out.
And it's like, come on, Ollie, you're overreacting. It's fine. I'll be back in a month.
Basically, almost. You might as well have said that. You might as well have said it. I don't know. And they talk about his addiction and how he's buried in this place because this is where he chose to become sober and all the rest of it. And again, it's all very fine. It's all very competent. The art is, again, it's decent. It's
yeah.
It's not shaking my world, but and there's some sweet moments with Oliver and Dinah.
I will say the art, while it's fine, I think it's. Let's pretend that for a moment that Roy is really dead, and this is the emotional send off. I don't think the art is enough for that.
Sure.
And I don't really like Roy that much. I don't really have an attachment. He's fine. I don't hate him, but I don't have that much of an attachment to him. But if this is the send off for Roy Harper, I think it's underwhelming.
Oh yeah, if you told me like at the end of Heroes and Crisis, Roy's death is sticking, we're getting Wally back, I'd be like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. But Roy does have his fans. Roy's been around for a long time, and it's unfair to them if that is his death. It's just like the way he was found in Heroes and Crisis.
That doesn't mean like like I said. For me, I'm not that big a fan. I don't have an attachment, but I respect him well enough to say he deserves better than this, assuming that he's dead. Like I think the only panel that really sticks the line of okay, that sold me on some of it is the final page with the sunset.
Yeah, with Oliver walking away and silhouette kind of thing. Yeah, no, yeah, like I say, it's well enough written, but it does feel like this again. It's a diversion in the story, because don't get me wrong, I'm sure that the Bensons will use the emotional weight of like Roy being dead to drive Oliver in the coming plots, right? I'm sure they will. They'll incorporate that, and that'll be fine.
We've already seen that happening in Flash.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be more of it in Flash. And I wonder, like, but other than that though, I feel like this is kind of separate from because he references, oh yeah, the plot with the social media guy, right? He references that at some point, but it feels like, yeah, this is kind of almost kind of a break from that plot to do the funeral, where if you've just been reading Green Arrow, like you're just like, wait, Roy died? What's happening?
Yeah, I think that's part of why I said at the start of this show that I think events, like line-wide events, we can only say spoiler-free for so long, because immediately, this is 1 week later, and the books are like, hey, that happened. Whether you like, tough shit, whether you read it, and you kind of just have to go with it, right?
Yep. So overall, I mean, if I'm rating the issue, it's like a 6.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. We didn't rate Nightwing.
Oh no, we didn't.
We got so caught up in the anger we forgot to give it a score.
So yeah, 6 out of 10 for Green Arrow. So just to sum up my feelings in Green Arrow, it feels like just kind of a decently written issue, but one that just kind of exists for it.
It feels hollow.
It feels hollow. It feels like a hollow tie-in to the event, as opposed to actually having much value on its own. Is how I'd feel. Nightwing, to rate Nightwing.
Yeah, because we have to, don't we?
I mean, there's like 2 pages of art I really like, and yeah, that's about it. 1 out of 10.
I like the Mooneyham art in the flashbacks a little bit more than you did. Even though I've not been the biggest fan overall, but I think his style works for that stuff more than it has done for the previous Nightwing stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll go 1.5.
But that's how, and people can say objectively, no, come on, it's not that. But I was like, no, like this is emotionally driven. This is passion driven. 1 out of 10. I hated it. I absolutely despised it.
And like I say, we actually dislike the art as well.
True. Like, for the most part, yeah.
This is ugly to look at for the most part. And on top of that, it's ruining the character. It's characters. Even if it was a fresh character, the character's unlikable.
If it wasn't Dick Ray, if this was a new character, it'd be like a 3 or a 4. But because they're ruining a character I like, it's
context.
Yeah, it's a 1 out of 10. No question. I hate it. All right, moving on. So we're actually alternating books here for a little bit. Cause the last new book we're talking about this week is Adventures of Super Sons, issue 3. Peter J. Tomasi writing, Carlo Barberi on the art. So this has been a solid, fun book. Really, really delightful. We ended the last issue with Superboy being split in 2 into red and blue, and there's a lot of banter that. At one point, one of them actually makes a "your mother" joke. And the other Superboy is like, "You sure mother too, dumbass." And
what year is it?
What year is it?
Yeah, I haven't heard of your mama joking.
Well, no, when I say your mama joke, it's not actually your mama. It doesn't start that way, but he makes a joke about your mother being dumb.
Okay.
He's like, "It's your mother too, dumbass," and Damien is actually like, "God damn, will you two shut up?" He basically gets a taste of his own medicine, because they both kind of become obnoxious because they're separated and they're kind of extremes. And they're kind of fighting, and one of them was making fun of the other one, saying that he's got attracted to Ice Princess, because they end up, obviously they're fighting this young Injustice gang that we've been introduced to. Worth mentioning the good guy Joker, who actually wasn't crazy and was forced into this. He gets his ship that he's on blasted, and he's on space floating. You think he's dead, and then at the end we reveal who saved him. Space Cabbie saved him and picked him up. So he shows up at the end with Space Cabbie, because the main ship, which everyone's on, crash lands on the alien planet, which they were on their way to, because chaos ensues, as you'd expect. And there's a lot of stuff with Rex Luthor fighting Damien. Damien has a lot of back and forth with him while he's trying to figure out how to deal with the two Johns. The two Johns are a lot of fun though. Them fighting back and forth, like bickering, but then like teaming up to fight the villains. Is really fun stuff. There's a great moment where Damien says, "I wish it was green kryptonite," which is a really funny line. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But the art's great again. It's very bright and colourful, very expressive as it's been throughout the run. Not even just this part of the run. The previous, the book that was technically just the same book, but they renumbered it.
Was it Barberi on that as well?
He did a few issues towards the end. He didn't do the whole book, but
okay.
he was.
No, and I distinctly remember him not being there at the start.
Yeah, he was on it by the end. And
Okay.
most of the issues fun action, like Deadshot's cracking the young Deadshot that is cracking some jokes about how he's better than actual Deadshot.
Plus points for Space Cabbie.
And points for Space Cabbie. Yeah, he shows up. He's like, "Hey, you guys need a flight back to Earth. I can accommodate that." Yeah, so it's a lot of fighting on the ship, and that's basically it. It's just a really fun banter and fighting issue for the most part. But everything with the red and blue Superboys is a blast. So I have very little to sort of analyze and sort of construct. This is
It's just a fun little book, isn't it?
It's a fun little book. It's doing more of the same, and it's very pulpy and silly and delightful in all the right ways. So
it sounds like it's one of those where if you've been enjoying it, you'll enjoy it. Just keep on reading.
Pretty much. It'll make a hell of a fun binge read when all's said and done. But yeah, so I can't fault. It'll be fun seeing them try to put the Superboys back together and how we accomplish that, because they're still separate at the end of this issue. So we'll see how that goes. But no, that's all I've got to say. Short and sweet. If I'm rating it, it is a solid 7.5 out of 10.
Cool.
There you go. Which takes us on to the first of the 3 catch-up punishment books. Why are we having punishment books? What are these? Well, these are books that our patrons over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV make us read. There's a tier for Connor, there's a tier for me, and then there's one that you can get as both at a bit of a discount, which is what Tyler's got. So Connor's got 2 books that he's forced to read. These are the higher tiers, though. These are a bit more expensive, should you happen to want to enforce it. Although I feel like we should raise the prices just to make it a bit more special.
I feel like I definitely should for this one that I got here isn't so bad. It's the issue 25 where it's extra long. That okay, I should have got more for that.
No, that's a loyalty thing. He's been making you read it for months and months and paying every month. He gets a loyalty bonus. So...
It is, but he's got a bloody annual next month.
He gets 2 months of loyalty bonuses.
What a prick.
What you're saying is you're charging now $30 for the standard 20 pages, but if you want a book with more pages, you got to pay per page. It's a premium. Once you go over the limit, you start paying X amount per page.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. No, that's not what's happening.
Exactly.
Don't worry, David. I'll make him read it. It's okay. But yeah. So first book Connor's doing is The Curse of Brimstone issue 5. Tyler makes him read this. Justin Jordan writing, Philip Tan and Jose Lewis on the art. Now, I don't remember a damn thing about what happened in any of the previous issues because everything goes out in one ear and out the other when you start talking about this. But
I'm not going to lie.
Go on.
I barely remember what happens in the previous issues. I'm going to get the biggest criticism of this issue out of the way immediately because it opens on it. It opens on the reveal of what it is. So basically, I'll go through most of the book first and then come back to the first page.
Okay.
So you have them, they got the book unlocked, like the journal, the salesman's journal. They got the blood, and it's like, oh, we can read it a bit now. So they go into this town where it was that he's done something, and they get there, and there's no one there. They're too late, and they hear like all these kids being, they go, oh, it sounds like kids. They go looking around, and they find one guy who's left, who tells them the story of what happened. And this is going to sound very familiar to you, actually. Oh. All these kids have the same imaginary friend, and it was speaking to them through the TV. They're sat there watching static. Yeah, and and there's this, I can't remember the name of the character now, but it was talking to them. Slackjaw was what it was called. And then it made the kids kill them. Like, made the kids kill everyone.
I'm getting a mix of 2 things here.
Go on.
I'm getting a bit of Channel Zero.
Yep.
And I'm getting a bit of one very bad episode of Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah. It's mostly just Channel Zero.
Okay.
Season 1. That's basically what this plot is. And which means it's not awful in that sense, because I mean It's kind of an easy in. It's like, okay, I've seen this story. The problem is it's building up the story. It's like, oh, the kids, and they're like, the kids did this, and you see all the kids killing, and then the army of kids come for them. They got like knives and pitchforks and stuff. It's not as creepy as it should be. The real problem is the issue opens. You have one page of this family being scared. This is in the town that they're at, and then you have a double page spread of a bunch of kids coming at them with knives and pitchforks. It starts with, oh, it's the kids doing this, which really undermines the whole thing.
I guess they're going for hey, there's a bunch of kids coming to kill us. Let's explain how we get to this point.
Well, no, because the kids aren't killing our main characters.
Okay.
What we're seeing, when I said, oh, our characters, they get to the town too late. Everyone's already dead. What we're seeing in the opening is the kids killing all the adults. Like that, and it kind of feels really pointless to show me that and then pretend there's a mystery when they get there and being like, oh, what happened?
Do you know what's funny about this? Is I'm not sure if Tyler reads this, because I know David, who makes you read Red Hood, does read that, because he comments on like, oh, you may like this issue coming up, it's a bit better, and things of that nature. He never does. I mean, you should probably know that by now. But I don't know if Tyler actually reads this. I wonder if this is just purely, oh, he hates this, I'll make him read this. Which I think is really funny. It's not that he wants to have like an opinion on something he's read. He just wants you to be miserable.
I get it. I mean, get your money's worth, right?
Which I can get behind. I get that.
But is it like this? It's not the worst issue ever. It's just it feels so redundant to show me that at the start and then spend half your issue building up to what going around them going around the town and what happened here. There's no one here. So sounds like kids. It's supposed to be spooky, creepy mystery. But I saw it at the start.
Outside of that opening page, that sounds like a decent little creepy horror story, to be honest.
It should be. It's not as effective as it could be. It's really not. I think the kids kind of just look a bit normal with just eyes whited out for the most part. But just they come with the knives and the pitchforks. They look like a classic angry mob. All they're missing is the torches. I don't know. Kind of underwhelming for what it should be.
Deus. I think I said that right. That was the reason why I said that is because in Resident Evil 4, you have the angry mob of villagers coming to fight you, and they all speak Spanish, and that's what they shout at you as they're running with their pitchforks and torches.
Okay.
I was just trying to say it because that's immediately what I thought of when you start talking about angry mobs with torches.
I was gonna say there's two artists on this issue, which again I've talked before about. This is supposed to be the artist line. It's weird that they're doing oh well, just shit it out, rush it out with multiple artists. To its credit, I don't feel the break. I know where it is because it's one of those where it tells you, oh, this artist did these pages. Okay. But it feels very consistent. So it's one of the better examples of having two artists on a book.
Okay, that's cool.
If I'm rating it, it's like a 4.
All right. Which I guess takes us out my punishment book, also because of Tyler, and that is Hawk and Dove, issue 4 from the New 52, Sterling Gates writing, and Rob Lefield on the art. So, if you remember the last 2 issues...
no.
Focused on Condor and Swan attacking the president at the White House while Hawk and Dove are there, right? And they eventually win, of course, and this issue is the interrogation. They've got the old man who was Condor, but obviously he's like this really little old man once he's not avatared anymore. And it's the interrogation of trying to get him to talk. And Hawk, of course, wants to play bad cop. Dove is playing good cop. And, the agent who's been kind of around is like, that good cop, bad cop thing doesn't really work as well as it does in the movies. It doesn't really work. It's like, Hank will just threaten them. So, basically, it kind of hints at some of the bigger things going on, that the circle of war is corrupting the circle of peace. And that's why Dove is getting more, like, angry and violent the more she spends time around Hank. But it sounds like he's got this plan. Like Condor, he's basically doing the plot of Jet Li's movie, The One. I don't know if you've seen that or heard of it.
I know what it is.
Yeah, the idea in that movie is that Jet Li from all these different universes, there's one bad one who's going around and killing other Jet Lis in other universes, because every time he kills one, he absorbs their power and becomes more powerful. Now, I don't know if he's becoming more powerful per se. It kind of implies that, but he's going around killing other avatars of war with that kind of goal in mind. So he's going to go around and kill the rest, and then come back and fight Hawk and Dove later. And at the end of the book, there's like a team comes in and takes him and extracts him. But the big thing is that, remember last issue, which you don't, I know you don't, but I'll remind you. So last issue, it was kind of weird how Dove was with Swan, and then we kind of didn't get to see how that ended, and then Dove just kind of showed up at the end with the knife that they were fighting with. And I do
vaguely remember you going, I'm sure we'll get that next issue.
Yeah, there was like a switcheroo maybe or whatever. There wasn't a switcheroo, but we do get to see the flashback this issue of basically Dove gets stabbed in the back from Swan with this knife, but when she does that, it like opens like an energy beam of like peace. There's a beam of energy. It comes from Dove, and it kind of like disintegrates Swan, and Dove doesn't know what's going on, and that's when she then shows up to the fight later on. We find out in this issue that when that happened, it was intentional. Swan wanted to ascend, and because she stabbed her, it opened up a gateway into the realms of the avatars or some shit.
So can I just stop you just 1 second and let you know what the worst part about all this is?
Oh, go on.
I read like the first 6 issues of every New 52 book, and I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You are chatting absolute shite to me right now.
So what happens then is she's ascended to another plane, and it turns out she's on the astral plane with Deadman, because she shows up in ghost form and fights Deadman, and Deadman essentially gets kidnapped. And at the end of the issue, it's like, oh, we've got your boyfriend, Dove. We'll kiss him goodnight for you. So Deadman's now the damsel in distress and Hawk and Dove. He's been kidnapped.
I know I read this
by Ghost Swan.
But what the hell?
I don't know. What you want from me? I'm just reading this shit. I didn't choose to.
Oh man.
This is. I mean,
if a book could jump the shark in 3 issues, I think this managed it.
Oh, it's better than Nightwing 50.
Yeah.
It's better than, hey,
I mean,
at least when Ghost Swan popped in, I laughed and went, "Oh, this is batshit. What are they doing with this? What's going on?"
Yeah, I it's very very mediocre, and I didn't like certain aspects.
I'm going to get the exact line of dialogue that explains what the beam of light was, because I was confused when I read that flashback. I was staring at the page for a while, trying to figure out what
is better than Nightwing 50, the new. Well, I mean, it's something. It exists.
It's something.
Yeah, it's like it's not the worst thing we've read ever.
Yeah.
God.
So. Yeah, it's like she's got a beam of light coming from her stomach after getting stabbed in the back. I was confused by this panel.
All right, and tell it what do they claim is happening?
Hold on, I need to find it, because it's old man Condor says it when he's talking to her. Talk about the war circle, and then yeah, right. So he actually senses that Deadman's in the room, and he talks about how he's been alive for 200 years. The ghost, his presence accentuates your scent. Deadman, that ghost is here in the room. Hang on. Where are we? I'm faded it.
Come on.
He says, "Oh, you've got a hot date" when she comes in the room. That was a weird moment.
Sounds weird.
Oh dear. Okay, I think I have to go back. I think it must have been earlier.
Oh, for God's sake. This is atrocious podcast.
Why did he explain it, damn it?
Maybe they don't and you just did it yourself.
No, he definitely explained it at one point. Maybe it's later, huh?
Oh my God.
We'll go. Oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah.
Got it?
Yes. Yes. Okay, you stabbed me in the chest earlier today. Haven't you ever wondered what an avatar of war does to your avatar of peace? And he's explaining about
I thought you said that he stabbed her in the back.
no, this was Condor saying you stabbed me in the chest.
Okay.
Right. We need your ghost boyfriend. Your ghost is going to help us find the rest of the members of the circle. Once they're all gone, apply for attack. Blah 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 blah.
You're still not at it, are you?
When did he say it? He said something about she accessed the energy. Hang on. I'll find it.
Oh my god.
Okay, here. I've got it.
You got it?
I've got it.
Okay.
I swear I've got it. Shut up, you ginger. Swan's mission was not to kill you. Our knife tore open your avatar's skin, creating an energy conduit. Your connection to the ghost and your avatar's energy allowed her to change planes of reality like a train switching tracks. So what he's saying there is that because she has a connection to Dead Man, mixed with her avatar of peace energy, she was able to use that to jump to the astral plane. I don't know. It's bullshit. What do you want from me?
That is pretty hefty bullshit.
What do you want from me? So they kidnap Dead Man, and he leaves. He escapes at the end, and he's got this evil smell. He's like, oh yes, you're doomed, meh. And that's the end of your issue. This is a 4 out of 10.
Even with all that bullshit.
The bullshit's entertaining and how stupid it is. If I cared more about Hawk and Dove as characters and I was offended that they were doing all this shit, I might be more pissed off at it. As it is, I'm going, what is this? What is this? What is it doing? And the art, of course, is same as it has been. Lefield. What do you want from me?
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, it looks like Lefield. That's all I've got for you. He does an okay angry face on Hawk. I'll give him that much.
He can do one thing.
He can do that. He can do that, and he can't do the feat. There's give and take, balance. There's balance in his artwork. There's a couple of depth of field effects actually where they've got someone behind someone, they've got them slightly out of focus, but they've done that digitally in post. I don't actually hate that too much. Used sparingly, it gets a bit annoying if they're doing it constantly, but depth of field's an interesting thing to play with, I think, in this form.
Yeah.
Because I like it in video games, because obviously in video games it's not natural either. So that's an effect they're adding to it. But
yeah,
you're emulating an effect, a natural effect you get in a camera, and I think that one translates to other mediums as long as it's used in the correct way.
It does. I think it depends on the book, because some books feel like no, this is like a movie. It's like you're watching it through a camera, right? And other books feel more like you're just looking at events.
Yeah.
And I think those ones, the depth of field can be really jarring and distracting.
But no, so 4 out of 10. Thanks, Tyler. That takes us on to the final book, which is the final punishment book. Again, catching up on last month's stuff. Is Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue 25. Scott Lobdell writing. And then on the art, Dexter Soy, Trevor Hairsine, Ryan Winn, Phil Hester, and Ande Parks.
Yeah.
Go on.
So I said earlier in the show, that it'll be a grand finale to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a grand finale to the run, ish, because it's carrying on, but it's the end of the run.
Yeah, it's Red Hood Outlaw or whatever it's turning into now.
Yeah. The Outlaws are gone. It's just Red Hood by the end of this issue. So we start with a flashback to years ago. I don't actually know what it feels really pointless. It's basically we open it, we're underwater. It's when he's robbing. He's floating there. You got Alfred coming through. It's like, hey, wake up. You've got to, you can't stay under that much longer. You can't hold your breath for much long because he loses his rebreather thing. You got to ascend, get up, get some air now. But the Batmobile's down there and Batman's in there, and he ignores Alfred and goes and drags Batman out, saves him, and does a mouth to mouth and all that when he gets him up top. And the only reason that this has a point is for a callback line later, where Rob, once he's up, he's like, "Oh yeah, you thought you'd get rid of me that easy," and Bruce says, "I think it's if I ever get rid of you, it'll or if you ever get rid of me, your choice. You know, it's like implying that he'll choose to leave and move on like Dick did. Yeah, and that's it. That's that whole opening. It's kind of pointless, except for to give us that line for a callback, which is a pretty cheap thing to do. If you're gonna have a big dramatic moment, oh yeah, we should probably set that up earlier in the issue rather than earlier in the run. I don't know. But then we cut ahead. He's invisible in the middle of the street because he's using invisibility. This is after he shot Penguin last issue. So there's a manhunt for him. There's loads of police search for him, and they're like, "Oh, we they're like, "Oh, we can't have gone far." And then we get his internal monologue going, "Well, I haven't got anywhere. I'm stood right in front of them. I'm just invisible." And there's a really weird thing in the art where it's like the camera's looking up towards him from the perspective, but he feel like I thought it was a projection at first, like or a hologram or something, because he's massive. He feels way out of proportion here. It's kind of weird. But then the invisibility tech shorts out and he appears and there's like 20 police all shooting, not shooting, but just pointing their guns at him. And then he sets off some noise thing on his belt and distracts them. And then they realize, the building, that their ship thing, fortress that was in the sky, that was also invisible.
Aye,
the
yeah, blimp or whatever it is.
Well, kind of a big building.
All right, okay.
And that's falling from the end of the last issue.
Jason's moving castle, got it.
Pretty much. More Bizarro's moving castle, but whatever. Yeah, but that's falling, and the invisibility on that's going as well. So people are going, "Oh shit, there's a building falling on us. Get out of the way." It's like, will that do any good? It's a building. And yeah, basically that's actual dialogue. That's not me saying that. Someone's going, "Hey, that's a building. We'll get out of the way. Help." And then you cut to Jason's monologue going, "No, it won't, but you might as well."
I mean, it can help if you get far enough away.
Yeah, I suppose.
There is a safe distance you could be from it. That's not an unreasonable thing to say.
Yeah, but I mean, it's falling. It's gonna take. Yeah, whatever.
You could be close. You could be close to the edge, though. You could.
Yeah, you could, I suppose. But anyway, this is when we finally cut up to Artemis and Bizarro on the ship, trying to stop it because there's the hologram Bizarro from when he was smart, which is that's why this is fallen. Charizarro, as they've been calling him, who controls all the ship and everything, who's put it into this self-destruct mode. And Artemis is like, "Hey, can we shut down the self-destruct?" And he's like, "No, I was completely everything was wired through Bizarro's brain, and now that Bizarro's brain's kind of gone again, there's nothing I can do."
Dear.
Yeah. So they're like, "All right then." Bizarro's like trying to apologize for what he did, and Artemis gets angry at the Charizarro, and Bizarro's like, "Oh, are you mad at me too?" And she's like, "No, you're just a big dumb idiot. It's not your fault." Yeah, exactly. But they start running away because they're like, "Well, I don't really know what to do. We better find a failsafe, so we'll try find one." And then we get to probably the best point of the issue. Jason's on a gargoyle, and he's like, "Right, I know that building's in and out of invisibility, but I really now I don't know exactly where it is, but I really hope it's underneath me." So he jumps off to land on it, but he gets snagged by Batman grabs him with a rope around his leg.
Ah.
Jason immediately starts firing bullets at him, like from pretty close range. And Batman kicks the shit out of him. He kicks him so hard his whole helmet shatters.
That sounds good.
It's a full-page spread of just Batman kicking him in the face. And Jason's like, "What the hell? You've never even hit the Joker that hard, and you hate him. Why are you doing this to me?" And Batman just goes, "Shut up," and hits him again. It's kind of satisfying.
All right, okay. All right, some points.
Yeah. And Batman's like, "No, we had a deal. You could stay in Gotham and be free if you didn't kill anyone. And then you shot Penguin point blank, and it was worse than what Batwoman did because you did it when there was cameras. It's like you're ruining the good Bat name." because I think he still has a bat. Yeah, he still has a bat on his chest. He's ruining the good Bat name. And Jason's like, so what? He's killed. You know what he's done over the years. How many he's killed? You really that bothered about it?
Clearly, he is. He's punching you in the face.
Yeah. So Batman then he headbutts him in the face because obviously he's got no helmet. Jason's got no helmet here now, so he just headbutts him in the face. There's blood dripping down his face. It's great, and then Batman's still going in all angry to punch him. It's kind of satisfying, but then Bizarro shows up and just smashes Batman through the floor. They're on a roof of a building at this point, obviously, and he just smashes Batman through the roof. And then flies off with Jason. Yeah. Just like, okay, that's that. They go up. Artemis is, trying to sort stuff out to stop the building still.
I'm using this time to groom the cat.
Yeah, might as well. Basically, they come up with an idea of, if you remember the quantum doorway that could kind of go anywhere, they're kind of like, we'll go through that and kind of we'll drag the building through that so that it so that it doesn't crash on Gotham. I mean, just crash it anywhere. And Bizarro,
Bloodhaven, crash it in Bloodhaven. Just put that place out of its misery.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's funny because don't forget this is a few months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll become relevant in a minute. I promise.
All right.
But yeah, Bizarro goes, no, I'm going out the hero, and he kind of grabs the building and flies through with it. But Jason's like, no, to Artemis, like, no, we've got to go after him. We've got to save him. And Artemis is like, no, not we, I. And she's like, oh, someday you'll understand. And then they have a bit of a kiss, and then she flies off after Bizarro, and then the portal closes. Big portal in the sky sort of thing, and it just closes up, and Jason's just left there going, oh, they're all gone, all his friends are dead. And then Batman shows up behind him. He's like, he just goes, oh, you're standing right behind me, aren't you? And then throws a kick behind him, and Batman just blocks it and then throws him across the roof and takes him down again. And literally he is, how sometimes you see Batman dragging criminals like by the collar or something like that.
Yeah.
Jason's helmet, it's not completely smashed. It's like all the face section's smashed. So it's still around the top of his head and around his chin. Think like a motorbike helmet if you lift up the visor. So he grabs him like through the top of the helmet, like under, just like above his forehead, and drags him from that.
I mean,
it's kind of great.
It sounds like this one has some highlights. I mean, I'm not going to read 25 issues to get to these.
But it's not how it's right for the right reason. But then suddenly there's some red smoke that comes in. Batman, he has in the old Metal Gear Solid games, where you had the exclamation mark come up when you were spotted above your head, and it goes zoing like that. It basically has that panel where you have the red smoke come in. You have Batman turn to the camera. These like three little lines come up above his head, and he just goes, eh? And then, and then a little arrow comes into his belt with electric shock, and of course it's got a red tip on it, hasn't it? And it's Arsenal come to save his buddy.
What?
Yeah. Like I said, remember a few months ago.
Okay, sure. Yes.
Yeah. It was weird reading it this week.
Yes.
That's the end of the issue proper. Then there's a short backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I think we had 2 artists on that, maybe. I'm just trying to check the credits page. No, we had 3 artists on the main story. We had one that was the present day stuff. No, one that was the flashback, and then 2 in the present day. Dexter Soy did the bulk of it, and one of the others does some bits. It looks to me like it's towards the end. Basically, after they disappear, I think is where it shifts, because that's where it looks like to me is the last like 3 or 4 pages. Is where it shifts artists. It's not the worst shift. It's okay, and the first one is excusable with it being a flashback. It's a pretty standard device. Then we have like a weird backup, which is it's this story. It's all like this pulp, like 70s style art. You've got it's like the start of a comic. Yeah, you've got the all the faces in the circles to tell you who everyone is. So you've got on this version of the team Red Hood, Artemis, Bizarro, Arsenal, and then the Creeper and Starfire.
Okay.
And they basically burst in on its Joker beating up Batman with a crowbar. Yeah, and they burst in and save the day, but they kill the Joker, and Batman's like, "Oh, thank you," and Jason's like, "Yeah, sorry about your golden rule," and Batman's like, "Oh, don't give it another thought. The world has enough heroes. Sometimes it takes an outlaw." And I'm like, "What the hell's going on here?"
This is a little just fantasy 4-page pointless Elseworld thing.
Pretty much, because then it turns out it's actually Ma Gunn reading a story. She's reading a comic of this for whatever reason.
Okay.
And then she goes, "Oh, she's hello, it's been a long time." And you see out of the corner, like, someone there in the shadows. It's like, I can't stay. You're far away, and even my omnipresence has its limits. And then he pops, and his face there's like three versions. It's like it's moving really fast. Like it's not quite stable. He's not quite there. It's Willis Todd, Jason's dad, who we had an arc about, who's dead, or supposedly. And then he's like, "Yeah, how long have you known?" And and it turns out Ma Gunn is his mother, as we get in that. And so it's like, "Oh, how long you know?" And it's like, "Yeah." So she's always known that Jason is her grandson.
Okay.
Why? So if you recall, Ma Gunn, called Faye, had a granddaughter called Faye Gunn, who we introduced, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 issues ago. I don't know if you remember. And I was like, "Oh, it's weird. The same name, it felt lazy." And Jason was all flirty with her. But, clearly they're pretty related. So that got weird.
Yes, I don't know what to add to that.
I don't know what the point of this is. I don't. It's clearly something that's meant to be setting up going forward, but
yeah, this is clearly set up for whatever Lobdell's doing next in the Outlaw part of the run.
But the 4 pages felt like the extra 4 pages of the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. Sorry, of her reading the story really feels like, oh yeah, this is an issue 25, isn't it? That's meant to be bigger. Yeah, just put that in there. And I don't get why it exists.
Yeah, strange.
This is such a bad issue. It feels really underwhelming as a finale to the run at this point. This version of the team is over, this iteration. Artemis and Bizarro go out as heroes. Well, Bizarro goes out as a hero. Artemis just follows him. It feels kind of underwhelming for her specifically. Bizarro's ending was all right. For her just to go, "Oh, I'm going to go try and help, save him," whatever. It felt like pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did enjoy seeing Jason get the crap kicked out of him by Batman. That was pretty satisfying.
What'd you rate it?
Good 3.
Yeah, put us out of our misery.
Still better than Nightwing. Although, I'm waiting for them to be revealed that Penguin's not really dead, because I feel like we'd have heard about that.
Yeah, that feels weird. That's not sticking.
And I thought, oh, that'll happen in the next issue, right? He'll say to Batman, like, "Oh, he's not really dead." But no, they're still pretending he is.
All right. Well, that does wrap up the books and take us on to the final section of the show where we pick our favourite stuff of the week, favourite panel/moment, favourite art, favourite cover, and of course the top 5 books. So, starting with favourite panel/moment, what do you have?
It's kind of difficult this week. Nothing's massively going, "Oh, it's that." So I'm going to go with, from Witching Hour, I'm going to go with that page of all the Swamp Thing husks, because I thought that was a great page.
Okay. I could see it. Yeah, I've got a couple that I could pick. Part of me wants to pick when Diana intentionally stops touching the lasso because she wants to lie.
It's a good moment.
I like that moment. I also like the seeing the rooms, and I like a couple of things. But I think actually I'm going to go with Justice League, and I'm going to go with where Batman goes speechless at the end. I feel like that moment there is a kind of sweet moment. So I'll go
No,
with
that's fair.
that. Best cover. And if it's not the Witching Hour variant, then I don't know what you're playing at. So what's your
It's not.
what
It's
you go with?
the regular cover for Green Arrow. I love that Maliv cover.
I mean, Maliv is very good. Let me have a look.
I really like it. And I think that has the foil version as well.
That is actually very nice. I'm still going with the Federici Witching Hour
Oh no,
cover.
don't get me wrong. It's a
but-
great cover. It is a great cover what you've picked, but I do really like that Green Arrow one.
Then best art of the week. What are you
I'll
going
give it to Batman. Tony Daniels he's great, isn't he?
It's kind of between that Justice League and Witching Hour, and I don't feel.
I feel they're all kind of at a similar stage.
Yeah.
I mean, Justice League's probably the weakest out of the three for me with just because of the faces. I think Batman I'm giving it to just for the thing like the touch in the snow with the speech bubbles like I mentioned. I like just small touches and the way the cape flowed. I'm like, yeah, go on, I can have it.
That's fair. I also like Perkins on Green Lanterns actually.
It's pretty good. It's a very consistent week for art. Nightwing aside.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna give it Perkins for Green Lanterns. I feel like it's a nice shout out, someone different, sort of.
Just not the cover.
Sort of week. Not the cover. No, the cover's atrocious, but the actual art within I really liked. So I go with Perkins. So top 5 books of the week, and so why is Nightwing your number 1?
Hang on. I'm trying to count if I've got enough to avoid Nightwing.
I do for sure.
Oh, just. I thought I was going to have to go into some like use Brimstone as number 5. I was considering it because I would have given it to that above Nightwing.
What's your top 5?
No, my top 5 seriously is Witching Hour, Justice League, Green Lanterns, Batman, Green Arrow.
Cool. My number 1 is Justice League. Number 2 is Witching Hour. Number 3 is Batman. And my number 4 is Adventures of Super Sons. And my number 5 is Green Lanterns.
Cool.
Definitely not Nightwing. Definitely not that piece of shit.
Nightwing gets the honorable mention of worst comic we've read in 2.5 years.
I will be shocked if we get to the annual episode this year and we're doing our best and worst of the year. I will be shocked if anything is worse in my memory than Nightwing 50. I will be shocked.
Nothing will, because even if anything was objectively worse, there's nothing we're going to remember hating as much as this.
Not unless
except maybe 51.
Not unless they go and try and ruin a different character with us in a similar.
Yeah, they've only got 2 months, 3 months.
Hey, here's your new. I don't know.
This is the thing. Obviously, they're doing the memory loss thing with Aquaman. But I don't hate I don't love Aquaman enough to be as angry if they ruin Aquaman.
Yeah, but the memory loss thing with Aquaman, it feels more story driven. It feels like that's what the comics plot idea is. She wants to do something with that.
Yeah. Because you're not getting in a brand new writer to write your shit like that, are you?
No.
You throw it to Lobdell.
The character's a big name. It's not like we'll bring her in for a stupid amnesia plot. No, whatever she's doing, I trust that she's got an idea. And
no, I agree. I was just using that as the closest potential.
Oh dear.
But, no, I mean, 51 could be worse. We've got Lobdell to contend with.
This is true. Speaking of, that's what's coming next week on the show, episode 125. Connor's missing that episode, but he'll be back the following week. In fact, that means that he'll have 2 episodes in a row, essentially, of doing his punishment books, because he'll be doing those in week 3.
At least one of them. Oh, actually, hang on. Is week maybe both if week 4 is a biggie.
Week 4 is pretty big, especially since I think Mr. Miracle still might be on week 4. Unless it gets pushed again, which it could. It's possible.
We'll see close to the time.
But yeah, coming next week, we have Wonder Woman 56, which is part 2 of Witching Hour. We have Superman 4, Detective Comics 990, The Flash 56, Supergirl 23, Titans 27, Hawkman 5, Plastic Man 5, Catwoman 4, and Sideways 9. Also worth mentioning, we also have Cursed Comics Cavalcade issue 1. We will probably do that, but we're going to save that until week 5 because it's a anthology book with like 80 pages of story. So we'll do that in week 5 with the annuals and shit. So that's the plan. All right. So yes,
if you'd like to wait, just kill time for 2 minutes.
Oh, go on.
Matt has just said he's forgotten to give his picks, so we might be able to just get Matt's choices in quickly.
Oh, Matt's going to give his picks of the week.
If we can kill time for 2 minutes.
All right.
Which, I mean, just go back to shitting on Nightwing if you really got nothing
Nightwing's
else.
terrible. It's garbage. What are you doing, people? What are you doing, DC?
Yeah.
Stop it.
It's such an easy target, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I really hated that. I'm looking forward to. I know I'm not here next week, but I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman, especially to get that story. And that has 2 gorgeous covers next week.
I was going to 2 gorgeous covers. I wasn't listening. I was
Wonder Woman
stretching.
Yeah,
I took all my thought process.
Wonder Woman. Obviously, you've seen the regular one in the preview thing.
Yes.
At the start of these books, the checklist. And then the variant is, I think it's Frisian again. It looks like hers, but it's kind of like the evilish Diana with the Hecate stuff going on. It looks good. Looks very good.
I'm asking Matt important things.
Yeah. Are you asking him how much he hated Nightwing?
I didn't know. I didn't know.
We need fresh reaction. If a week later is no fun, is it? People need to know.
Yeah, and then the end of the show is literally just waiting on Matt telling us things over Facebook chat so we can talk. Yeah. Right, best art of the week he gave to Jimenez for Justice League. Fine pick. Moment of the week was Hall of Justice dining room stuff with Ferdinand. Good pick.
We know he loves Ferd.
Cover he gave to Super Sons. His top 5 is Justice League, so agree with me there. He put Super Sons at number 2. He put Witching Hour at number 3. He put Batman at number 4. And Green Arrow at number 5. So not a million miles away from.
Yeah, it's kind of in line with what we were saying for the most part. Though we had Super Sons a lot. Did you have Super Sons in your top 5?
Yeah, I had like 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That was good. And to the question of how much did he hit Nightwing, he's went in all caps so much. And then he says it's got that Lobdell stink on it already.
Yes, which I will counter as Didio stink.
Sure,
but...
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Matt also hated Nightwing. That's good.
Not that we expected anything less.
We didn't, but you never know. He might have shocked us with something else.
He does do that every so often.
Yeah, so he's away for the weekend, but he's patched in his thoughts because he's read his books
just in time.
So there you go. That brings it into the show. I told you what's coming next week. Anything else to inform you of? The monthly episode went up for patrons. If you go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, of course you can support the show and the channel and everything we do here. And one of the perks at the $5 tier is a monthly episode with me and Connor going over a trade or a graphic novel. And we did Gotham Central Book 1 during this week. So that's up for everyone.
Yeah.
On
and Patreon. Of course, if you go and sign up now, you get 14 or so of those to listen to.
Yeah, that was the 14th episode of the monthly. That one.
So yeah, if you go sign up, they're all there waiting, and you can have a fantastic October.
Yeah, and October is a voting month for the Patreon monthly. The vote will be up in a couple of days' time. We're actually just finalising some of the other votes so that all the votes can go up at the same time. But that'll be up in a couple of days. It's horror themed, basically, is what we're doing. So that is that. Get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast. That's worth mentioning. Let us know on Twitter how much you hate Nightwing's new direction in Nightwing 50, please. And if you do happen to like it, I mean, try and explain it.
Yeah. I want to know why.
Do you typically like Dick Grayson? Do you typically like Nightwing? Because I could see Priest, Christopher Priest. I could see him loving this. It's like, yeah, finally, Dick's got character.
Do you know what the thing is? He doesn't like Dick, but even I don't think he'd like this. Because he respects Dick enough to just not use him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So that has been episode 124 of Comics from the Multiverse, your premier DC Comics podcast on the interwebs.
well, according to Twitter, we are the DC Comics podcast.
Yes,
so.
yes, we have that name on Twitter because we are the premier DC Comics podcast. That's just a fact. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. So come back next week. No Connor next week, is on vacation, but Matt's here instead. So by definition, it'll be a better episode than this week's.
I mean, I'd say I'd argue, but there's no Nightwing next week, so it's a better episode. You don't have to read that.
Yes, and I don't have to read Hawking Dove next week, so it's also better for that reason. So we'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much once again. Goodbye, good evening, good night. This meeting of the Midnight Society has drawn to a close, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.